2 days passed very quickly. Although nothing happened in these 2 days, Yemo still didn't dare to leave his sister by herself. But finally he felt more eased. After this was done, he would ask about what sort of an organization Earth Fiend really was. 2 days passed very quickly. Although nothing happened in these 2 days, Yemo still didn't dare to leave his sister by herself. But finally he felt more eased. After this was done, he would ask about what sort of an organization Earth Fiend really was. When Yemo and Tang Beiwei came to the front gate of the university, Xiao Gang had been waiting for them there already. However, Yemo felt that Xiao Gang's attitude to him was a little different. He could really tell the difference, but Xiao Gang seemed more reserved. Was it because of Earth Fiend last time? Yemo also knew now wasn't the time to ask, so after the race was over, he would then ask Xiao Gang. Although Xiao Gang was a little reserved, he was very happy seeing Yemo. However, Yemo noticed that Xiao Gang didn't bring his bodyguard today. Yemo immediately understood that that sort of bodyguard was just a display for an Earth Fiend hitman. "Brother Yi, the car is ready, it's on the race course. Let's go over now." Xiao Gang just drove over an ordinary Mercedes car. After inviting Yemo and Tang Beiwei in the car, Xiao Gang drove. After starting the car, he said, "Brother Yi, I will tell you about the situation. The racers invited by the other 3 families are all international racers. Some have even gotten first place in F1 racing." Yemo asked curiously, "Young Master Qiao, since the other people are all inviting international racers, why does your Qiao family still invite me? I'm no racer." Qiao Gang heard Yemo's words and immediately replied, "Brother Yi, you're being too humble. I'm sure that even an international racer won't be able to dump my Porsche behind with an Audi in such a short time, but Brother Yi, you did it. I believe in you. Plus, mountain driving is different to international racing. Even an F1 racer won't have much advantage. I have a map of the course here. Brother Yi, take a look." Then, Qiao Gang handed Yemo a map. Yemo took it and looked, and then realized the race ground was under a peak at the Guixiang Ranges. The path was very curved and the race was quite dangerous. With a small mistake, it wouldn't be racing but plummeting to your death. Despite Tang Beiwei having a lot of faith in Yemo, she was still worried upon seeing the map in her brother's hands. This wasn't racing cars but racing life. As though seeing Tang Beiwei's worry, Yemo smiled and said, "Don't worry, I've been on this road before. It's nothing." Yemo didn't lie. However, it was Wendong driving before. Xiao Gang said apologetically, "I guessed the race grounds would be here, and it was. It's very easy to fall off the cliff, so if Brother Yi doesn't want to race, we still have other people." Yemo waved his hand. "Young Master Qiao, if I don't participate, it definitely won't be due to danger but time." Xiao Gang seemed to know Yemo was telling the truth and nodded. "I'm actually quite familiar with that road. It's because we usually chose this place to race." Yemo knew what Xiao Gang meant. It was a place where the bored young masters expended their abundant energy. Despite Xiao Gang driving very fast, it was already an hour or so later after they arrived at the race course. And the entrance to this road had been sealed. There was a big open area at the foot of the mountain, and there were already about 50 to 60 people there. The racetrack at the bottom of the mountain was very wide and could space 7 or 8 cars. And the racers could choose a path halfway. One way was 20 miles long, but if you wanted to take over other cars, you had to go on the takeover path. That would mean going an extra 5 kilometers. But the rule of the race was as long as you got to the finish line first, you win. When Yemo and they got off the car, there were immediately many glances looking at them. Yemo saw a few race cars lined up at the grass. Each one had someone to guard it. Each family had their own car. It was his first time seeing so many customized brands. Ferrari, Lamborghini, BMW, Lotus, Porsche, Bugatti, and so on. Xiao Gang brought Yemo and Tang Beiwei to the Qiao family's place. There were 4 cars parked here. The Qiao family people came to say hi, but Yemo just greeted them casually. He only came to help because he promised Xiao Gang. He didn't have the mood to get friendly with the Qiao family. Yemo noticed Zhang He. When Zhang He saw Yemo come, he had a cruel look in his eyes. He also had a racer who was not yet 30 beside him. His face was also very cold. Behind Zhang He, there were 2 more people. One was a black racer. When Qiao Gang saw the black racer, he immediately said quietly to Yemo, "That's the international racer, Martin, invited by the Yun family. The Yun family is very interested in the blood quarrel and has spent a fortune on this. I suspect it was the Yun family who hired the hitman last time. This family is the most mysterious. When you get in the car, you need to be wary of the Yun family, and Zhang He, that punk, he's very sneaky." Yemo nodded and scanned his eyes to the last 2. Qiao Gang immediately said, "That's the River South Cha family people. It's said the Cha family is a semi-hidden family. However, they are quite nice. I feel that amongst these families, the most amicable are the Cha family. The people they have invited aren't very famous, and they didn't bring up any requests to the blood quarrel." Hearing Qiao Gang's introduction, Yemo looked at the 2 racers of the Cha family. Indeed, they looked very positive and bright. Yemo couldn't help but smile. Perhaps Qiao Gang's words influenced him. He turned around and spoke to that waiter of the Qiao family a bit. Qiao Gang interrupted. "Brother Yi, go choose a car." Just when Yemo wanted to choose a car, he felt this frigidness. He subconsciously wanted to look back, but he immediately stopped himself and scanned with his spirit sense carefully. In Yemo's perspective, something that could make him feel cold must be killing intent. Just then, Zhang He looked at him nefariously, but how could Zhang He, this useless spoon-fed kid, have this sort of killing intent? Regardless if it was him, if that person wanted to play tricks in the race, it would be suicide. However, Yemo noticed Zhang He didn't look at him and was speaking to the racer next to him. Yemo thought and immediately scanned the 2 racers of the Yun family. They were fine too. Then, his spirit sense stayed on the 2 racers of the Cha family but found one of them seemingly looking at him. Yemo was sure that if he didn't have spirit sense, he definitely wouldn't be able to find this racer's gaze. The eyes of that racer lost that positive look and flashed across killing intent. It was actually the most amicable family, Qiao Gang said. Yemo frowned. That racer who showed killing intent to Yemo immediately returned to his positive, bright look. He didn't even know the Cha family. Why would they have killing intent for him? River South Cha family? Yemo suddenly remembered that Wu Guang monk mentioned to him that Cha family was a semi-hidden sect. No matter who it was, he wouldn't let go of those who had their killing intent targeted to him. Yemo scanned this racer's body with his spirit sense again and felt dazed. At a very discreet place in the racer's sleeve, there was a tattoo with a double-sided knife. Earth Fiend Hitman? No wonder he felt killing intent, it was a hitman. However, this hitman was too low caliber, as his killing intent was leaking. Although he had a good masquerade, Yemo could see it clearly. According to Qiao Gang's description, 2 knives meant it was a human-level hitman. Yemo sneered. Since he found the Earth Fiend killer, it meant that this killer probably came for him. Discovering a hitman, Yemo immediately became careful. His spirit sense kept scanning everyone on the scene. He carefully checked to see if their wrists were tattooed, but soon, Yemo found that another girl also had the same tattoo. There were 2 hitmen here. Yemo's heart sank. He wasn't afraid of Earth Fiend but was worried about his sister Tang Beiwei. If these hitmen only had their targets on him, he wouldn't mind, but what if these hitmen also targeted Tang Beiwei? No matter where he took Tang Beiwei, she wouldn't be safe. "Brother Yi, let's go choose a car." Qiao Gang saw Yemo hesitant, and he reminded him. "Okay." Yemo casually chose a customized Mercedes and then looked at Qiao Gang and said, "When we race, it's fine if I take my sister too, right?" Yemo had decided that if he had to leave his sister here facing that female assassin, he would rather not help Qiao Gang race. Qiao Gang was initially dazed, but he immediately replied, "Of course, it's fine. But this way, Brother Yi, you would be at a disadvantage. It's better the lighter you are. Sometimes, just a little weight can affect the race." Qiao Gang was initially dazed, but he immediately replied, "Of course, it's fine. But this way, Brother Yi, you would be at a disadvantage. It's better the lighter you are. Sometimes, just a little weight can affect the race. Yeah, brother. How about I wait for you here? Tang Beiwei persuaded. Emo shook his head. No, I must take you with me. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel safe leaving you here. In that case, Brother Yi, go test your car. Qiao Gang saw that Emo was dogmatic and didn't continue to try to persuade him. The 4 cars of the Qiao family also had people guarding it outside. However, those not from the Qiao family weren't allowed to go near it. However, Emo was the racer, so when they came, the guard immediately moved aside. Emo brought Tang Beiwei in the customized Mercedes and drove 2 circles. Tang Beiwei asked, Brother, did you notice something? Emo nodded and said, I found 2 Earth Fiend killers. They must be coming for us. I'm worried to leave you here alone. Tang Beiwei finally understood why Emo insisted on taking her. Now, she knew the severity of the issue. It could be said from now on, either Emo or the Earth Fiend had to die. What to do now? How about this, you send me to the Yi family? Tang Beiwei had understood Emo. If she followed behind Emo, she would only be a burden. Although she didn't want to go to the Yi family, in order to not drag her brother down, she wouldn't mind stepping out of her comfort zone. Emo shook his head and said, Beiwei, you're thinking too simple. If the Earth Fiend really has its target set on us too, then it wouldn't be any use even if you go to the Beijing Yi family. But you don't need to worry, I have a place to send you to. After I completely annihilate the Earth Fiend, then I will come to take you back. However, that place is empty and cold, you might not be able to take it. Tang Beiwei nodded her head firmly and said, Brother, don't worry about me. Just send me there, I'm not afraid. Okay. After I break through, I will make the Earth Fiend pay. How dare they target me? Emo's tone went sharp. Wait, sit in the car and don't move. I'll check the car. Emo suddenly stopped talking and frowned. The frigidness in his eyes was getting intense. Tang Beiwei looked strangely at Emo and asked, What's wrong, brother? Emo didn't reply. He stopped the car and used invisibility and came to the bottom of the car. He took off a time bomb. Luckily, he checked carefully with his spiritual sense. He didn't expect this car to even have a time bomb set up. These people really had some power. If this car had a time bomb, it meant the other cars had a time bomb too. It seemed these Earth Fiend people were really prepared. Not only did they plant the time bomb but also sent 2 people over. Emo was sure that it was either the Cha family racer or the female hitman who planted the bomb. Zhang He didn't have such ability to do so. After taking off the bomb, Emo got in the car and drove it back. How's the car? As soon as Emo got off, Qiao Gang came and smiled. Emo nodded. Not bad, this car has very good features after the customization. By the way, young Master Qiao, can you help me get some water? I'm thirsty. After getting Qiao Gang away, Emo quickly went invisible and took off another 3 bombs from the Qiao family cars. Emo didn't dare to keep these bombs on him. Although he was sure the Earth Fiend people would detonate it during the race, who knew if they would go crazy and detonate it now. Just when he put the bomb aside and came back to the car, Qiao Gang came and passed a bottle of water to Emo. Brother Yi, let's go in and have a rest. It will start soon. Brother Yi, when the race begins, I suspect the Zhang family will play dirty. I will keep an eye on Zhang He, that punk, while you keep an eye on the guy beside him. Also, we need to be mindful of the Yun family. We don't need to worry about the Cha family. Looking at the people they sent this time, they probably don't have much hope for the race. The few people went into the resting room and Qiao Gang immediately shared his analysis. Emo used his spirit sense to keep notice on the 4 cars. He was afraid that someone would try to do something to it again. However, although Emo didn't agree with Qiao Gang's words, he didn't argue. Things were the exact opposite of what Qiao Gang said. The most amicable Cha family was the most dangerous character. The race is about to begin. Let's go out. I'll go test my car. Qiao Gang stood up. Emo brought Tang Beiwei and Qiao Gang out and immediately noticed that nice-looking female hitman. he immediately said to Tang Beiwei. Beiwei, wait for me at the race course, I will drive the car over there immediately. Tang Beiwei had no objections to all to Yi Mo's suggestions. She believed that everything Yi Mo did was right. No matter how mysterious Yi Mo was, she didn't mind as long as Yi Mo was her brother. Yi Mo walked over to this girl. Hello? I'm Yi Mo, can I get to know you? Yi Mo smiled and extended his hand. The girl didn't expect Yi Mo to go up to her. Although she wasn't that attractive in here, there were a few girls prettier than her. Her first reaction was that Yi Mo had already found her. But then she thought, this was impossible. She just came here, so no one knew her. She reached out her hand anxiously. Hello, I'm Dong Qing. Yi Mo clearly felt her heart beat rapidly, and then returned to normal. It seemed this female hitman was still not experienced. Yi Mo grabbed Dong Qing's hand and squeezed, not letting go for a long time, until Dong Qing's face blushed and tried to pull her hand out. Actually, I feel you're a special girl, so I wanted to know you. You have a temperament that other girls don't have. It's quite attractive. I don't have any bad intentions, I just really want to ask you out for dinner. How about we go eat after the race, what do you think? Yi Mo was still using his spirit sense to make a mark. Of course, she wouldn't let Dong Qing pull her hand away so easily. Just when Dong Qing didn't know what to do, he let go of her hands. Although it was a short time, Yi Mo already made a spirit sense mark on Dong Qing. After the race, he would follow this Dong Qing. Since the Earth Fiend was interested in him, he had to be friendly. Dong Qing looked down, and just said one word and blushed. Yi Mo sneered. This hitman was quite good. She was more professional than actors, blushing at will. Sigh. Yi Mo saw that Dong Qing didn't talk and sighed while staring at her chest. What's wrong? Just when Dong Qing wanted to say something, she saw Yi Mo stare right at her chest. Her mind blanked out. Didn't the data not say that Yi Mo was very lustful? What was this? Yi Mo smiled and didn't reply. Then he said, Wait for me. And he turned to leave, but he murmured, If only it was a little bigger. And Dong Qing happened to hear this remark. She immediately knew that Yi Mo was saying her chest was too small. However, Yi Mo's voice was very quiet. He probably didn't say it for her, but she had this strange feeling. Dong Qing bit her teeth. Although a hitman was supposed to be not affected by emotions, she was still infuriated by Yi Mo. How was her chest small? Did this guy have eyes? Although she knew Yi Mo was a dead person, she still wanted to charge up and grab him, and ask how exactly was she small. As a hitman, she should resist the urge, but as a woman, she really couldn't tolerate that. Yi Mo did it intentionally, of course. His last words were meant to make Dong Qing angry, and his spirit sense would disappear from her body. Although she wouldn't be able to find it even if Dong Qing wasn't infuriated, he still wanted to be more careful. After all, after he killed the other killer, Dong Qing would be his only source. Instead of waiting for this organization to find him, he might as well attack them. It wasn't Yi Mo's character to wait. Since this organization wanted to look for trouble with him, Yi Mo would make them regret. Yi Mo walked over the Mercedes and picked up the 4 bombs and then drove the car next to the Chow family cars. Xiao Gang drove a customized Porsche. He was surprised seeing Yi Missouri drive his car next to the Chow family cars, but he soon understood. Yi Mo must think the Chow family would be easier to surpass, and this decision was right. There were 8 cars and only Yi Mo took someone else in the car. Everyone else was surprised and soon started laughing at him. Who would bring another person in the car to a race? Dong Qing dazed for a moment. She obviously didn't expect Yi Mo would bring Tang Beiwei into the car. Tang Beiwei was her original target, and since she was brought on the car by Yi Mo, things were easier. Dong Qing gasped a breath of relief. Although her higher-ups said Yi Mo was very difficult to deal with and sent out 2 people at once, she felt the higher-ups were being too careful. Perhaps this would be the easiest mission she would do. Dong Qing dazed for a moment. She obviously didn't expect Yi Mo would bring Tang Beiwei into the car. Tang Beiwei was her original target, and since she was brought on the car by Emo, things were easier. Dongqing gasped a breath of relief. Although her higher-ups said Emo was very difficult to deal with and sent out 2 people at once, she felt the higher-ups were being too careful. Perhaps this would be the easiest mission she would do. As the light turned green from red, the Zhang family's black racer was the first to charge across the starting line. Meanwhile, Xiao Gang was the second to go. The 2 racers of the Yun family were the third and fourth. Emo was the fifth. He knew that if he didn't go, Zhang He wouldn't either. To Zhang He, his life was probably more important than blood coral. Emo anticipated right. The last to go was the 2 racers of the Chao family. As expected, Zhang He went in front and blocked Emo. This was mountain racing and only the starting part was spacious. The road got tighter as the race progressed. Some places only allowed 1 car to pass. Zhang He's speed was very fast. He tailgated closely to Yemo's Mercedes while driving a Lamborghini. Yemo sneered. Although he followed the 2 racers of Yun family closely, he wasn't able to shake Zhang He away. He didn't know when the Earth Fiend Killer would detonate the bomb, and he also wanted to see the power of this bomb. Although the mountain racing course was very dangerous, the racers were still going very fast. That black driver was far ahead of everyone else. But Xiao Gang was slowly being overtaken by a racer of the Yun family. At this moment, they had driven 1/10 of the path. When they were about to go into the most dangerous section of the mountain waste, Emo suddenly sped up his car. Meanwhile, Zhang He was planning to force Emo off the cliff at this place. Emo knew that the moment he started to fight with Zhang He, it would be the time that Hitman attacked. Zhang He held his steering wheel tightly and sneered. "Fight with me? I started doing the mountain racing long time ago, when you probably even didn't know what car racing was." He said this to himself, and then suddenly stood down on the accelerator. His car dashed towards Yemo's tail. He was confident that he could squeeze Yemo into the cliff without anything happening to him. Zhang He's calculations were very accurate. He had calculated that there was a turn ahead and he only needed to accelerate. Before Yemo could turn, he could bump Yemo off the cliff. Meanwhile, his car could use this repelling force to make a big turn without any effects. He had always been in mountain racing and knew how powerful this dash could be. He also knew that this force couldn't be too strong nor too weak. If too strong, his car would follow off the cliff. If too weak, he wouldn't be able to bump Emo off. Although it was a bit hard, Zhang He believed in his technique. Rumble, the engine of the Lamborghini bursted, carrying out white smoke. Just when Emo was about to turn, it ran towards Yemo's car. As soon as his car touched Yemo's car's tail, he would turn the steering wheel. Behind Zhang He, the racer and the hitman of Chao family also dazed. Zhang He obviously wanted Yemo's life, this was what they wanted too. At the same time, that Earth Fiend Killer almost detonated the bomb but stopped, thinking that it would save him trouble if someone else would kill Emo. He only needed to detonate the bomb on the car of Xiao Gang later. After Zhang He slammed down on the accelerator, it almost instantly caught up to Emo. Before Zhang He could rejoice, he felt something was wrong. Since he caught up, there should have been a collision, and Emo would be rammed off the mountain. However, he found out that Yemo's car seemed to have suddenly disappeared while his car charged forward without halt. Not good, Emo wanted both sides to end in death. He actually drove his car completely off the course. At this place, there was only enough room for 1 car to pass. Since Emo moved aside, it meant he would fall off the cliff. Zhang He needed to turn sharply, however, as soon as he thought of that, he noticed that his car had went past the cliff. It was over. Zhang He turned and looked at that moment. His mind was full of disbelief. Yemo's car only had 2 wheels on the side of the cliff. The other 2 were hanging in midair. How was this possible? How did this car not fall off? But soon, his consciousness disappeared with a loud bang. Zhang He's car drove off the course and crashed. Although Tang Beiwei was nervous, she wasn't scared. She knew her brother's powers. He would definitely be able to handle this. Emo saw Zhang He fall off the cliff and sneered. "You want to colonize me with your petty moves. But he was curious. That killer actually didn't detonate the bomb in the meantime. He simply sent out his flying sword and used it to support the weight of his car. It seemed that his car only had 2 wheels on the road's side. Although his flying sword couldn't hold it very long, it was enough for Zhang He to drive off the cliff. After Zhang He's fall, Yemo drove the car onto the track again before taking back his flying sword. What was this? The Cha family hitman rubbed his eyes. He thought he saw wrong. Yemo clearly drove his car off the road. Why didn't he fall and could even drive back? This was absolutely impossible. However, just when he didn't know what was going on, Yemo's car had already disappeared around the corner. Why aren't you detonating? Hurry, we will retreat as soon as our mission is over. There was the call of his partner on the hitman's phone. Yes, I'll detonate it now. This hitman was depressed. He put his hopes of Zhang He just then, but immediately, this hope was gone and Zhang He lost his life too. The Cha family hitman pressed down on the detonator. Rumble. Rumble. There was 2 loud sounds and the 2 cars of Cha family both fell off the cliff at the same time and erupted into flames before even reaching the bottom. However, these 2 gusts of flames fell to the bottom immediately. Dong Qing even managed to make out some flames at the foot of the mountain. She had a bad feeling and immediately called for her partner, but there was no reply in a long time. Not good. Her sixth sense as a hitman told her that this mission was probably a failure, and her partner might have been in trouble. She remembered Yemo's faint smile and that whatever attitude. Dong Qing shivered. As a guy who could easily kill her partner and catch crossbow arrows, how could he be killed so easily? Ironically, she had been thinking this might be the easiest mission yet. Cold sweat started dripping down on her back. She subconsciously looked at the other 2 cars of the Chiao family. She had the urge to go up and see if the bombs were gone. Dong Qing subconsciously looked at the people at the foot of the mountain. Everyone was staring at the screen. There were no cameras at the sites of the incidents. The big screen only occasionally showed who was first. She secretly took out her phone and pretended to make a call as she neared the 2 cars of the Chiao family parked on the side. The race had started and no one paid attention to the remaining cars. People only cared about the result of the race. Dong Qing neared the car and chose the other side. She squatted and only checked one of the cars. Her heart immediately sunk. The bomb was gone. It must have been put under the 2 cars of the Cha family. Dong Qing suddenly felt a cold sense on her back. She put the bombs there herself, and she had been watching these 4 cars. But they were still taken away and put under their own cars instead. She didn't even know about it at all. What sort of ability was this? Dong Qing couldn't calm down anymore. She had seen eerie things, but something like this was her first time. Her back sweated uncontrollably. When Yemo came over to shake her hand, had he already known her identity? Instantly Dong Qing drew the conclusion that Yemo had 100% found out who she was and must have had a purpose to shake hands with her. Did he make some sort of mark on her in that short while? Go, immediately go. She finally understood now why Yemo was going to bring his sister on the car. It was because he already knew who she was and was waiting till the end of the race to look for her trouble. Although Dong Qing hadn't been in this career for long, her talent allowed her to succeed 5 assassinations in a short time. One of them was a mafia tycoon. It was very hard. If she succeeded this time, she would immediately get a second orange badge. For any Earth Fiend hitman, any badge was honor and wealth. Once she acquired all of the 7 human badges, she would ascend to Earth-level hitman. But today at this small place in Tandu, she felt fear. Dong Qing didn't dare to stay for another minute. She was going to leave Tandu as soon as possible and find a place to burn all of her clothes, and then change her clothes before leaving. Although she didn't know what Yemo left on her body, her killer's sixth sense constantly told her she was in danger. Of course Yemo heard that loud explosion. He sneered but also felt threatened. If he wasn't careful, perhaps the bang would be coming from his car. This explosion would cause him heavy injury even if it didn't kill him. Plus, he had his sister in the car. These Earth Fiend people were really bleak. Of course Yemo heard that loud explosion. He sneered but also felt threatened. If he wasn't careful, perhaps the bang would be coming from his car. This explosion would cause him heavy injury even if it didn't kill him. Plus, he had his sister in the car. These Earth Fiend people were really bleak. Brother, was the explosion just then from the car of that killer? Of course Tang Beiwei also heard the explosion. Yemo nodded. Yes, that hitman planted the bomb under our car and was discovered by me. I put their bombs back and then they detonated the bombs on themselves. This is called you suffer what you do. Tang Beiwei subconsciously clutched her hands and said after a long while of retrospective fear. These people are so bad, it serves them right. It was too dangerous just then. Then, her face showed worry. Although they avoided it this time, what about next time? Brother, I feel this society is really different from what I saw. Before I only saw the surface and there were many that I couldn't see. Sigh. Only after experiencing it do I know how scary it is. Tang Beiwei exclaimed. Yemo smiled. He had never felt this place was very safe. Although it was better than the cultivation realm, danger was still everywhere. He had already killed the few people who wanted to kill him. Yemo's car had sped up. On the curved road, Yemo's car was getting faster and faster. It had only been a few minutes before he saw the car in fourth place. It was from the Yun family. At a more spacious place, before this driver could react, Yemo had surpassed him like the wind. The third was Xiao Gang. Xiao Gang was just surpassed by a Yun family driver and was now in third place. However, it was impossible for the fourth place to surpass Xiao Gang. Just when Xiao Gang was confused why Yemo still hadn't caught up, he saw Yemo's car rushing over like the wind. Of course Xiao Gang wouldn't fight with Yemo and immediately moved aside to let Yemo take over. Keep this place, Yemo reminded before overtaking Xiao Gang. Yemo thought that as long as he could surpass that Yu family driver, the Xiao family would be the first. This was because although the black driver was first, Shan he couldn't score points anymore. The second was that driver invited by the Yun family. His car skills were good indeed and didn't slow down even on such curvy roads. Although only one car could pass ahead, it would be very simple for Yemo to take over him if he wanted. However, Yemo didn't want to do things so absurdly. That having two wheels hanging in mid-air and not falling off was out of the ordinary. Despite this driver being very fast, he was still far from Yemo, who controlled with his spirit sense. This speed was already very fast for normal people, but from Yemo's perspective, this speed was countless times slower than his flying sword. At a slightly wider section of the track, Yemo stood the accelerator down to the bottom and immediately surpassed the Yun family driver. Madman! That Yun family driver was a famous dangerous terrain racer in Japan, but faced with Yemo who didn't slow down even when turning, he felt this was too crazy. Yemo released his flying sword. As soon as he was about to lose control at corners, he would use the flying sword to push. There was still 1/6 of the road, but Yemo had already caught up to the black driver. Although the remaining 1/6 of the road was wide, there were no turns. It could be said this last part depended solely on the car itself. One only needed to step the accelerator down to the end. That black racer obviously knew his car's performance was better than Yemo's. He drove a modified Ferrari. Plus, Yemo had someone in his car. The advantages were obvious. He didn't even need to stop Yemo. He only needed to step on his accelerator, and he would win the race. Yemo also stood hard on the accelerator, and released his flying sword at the same time, making the sword push the back of the car, increasing the speed this way. The black man couldn't believe his Ferrari was slowly being overtaken by Yemo's car. He stood on the accelerator while looking at Yemo's Mercedes in confusion. A mere modified Mercedes could overtake his Ferrari. This was impossible. He was a racer. He only needed to hear the sound of the Mercedes and knew which generator it used. It couldn't compare with his Ferrari, but how was this Mercedes faster than his car? But no matter how hard he stood on the accelerator, and could even feel his car was going to float, Yemo's car still surpassed his without hesitation. Just when he wanted to use other means, he found that Yemo's car had arrived at the final destination. Yemo didn't go down the car and took back his flying sword. After he got off, the first thing he did was to check if Dong Qing was still here. As he expected, she had left. However, Yemo wasn't worried. He had his spirit sense mark and would find her sooner or later. Plus, if she was still here, Yemo would be bemused. If a hitman didn't even have this sort of sense of vigilance, what sort of hitman was she? There were loud rumbles. The rest of the people had arrived. 8 people took part in the race, and only 5 finished the race. The other 3 crashed. Although things were very cruel, word wouldn't get out. The Yun family's 2 racers got 3rd and 5th, acquiring 10 points in total. The Zhang family had 1 death, and the other got 2nd place. Their total points were 7. Cha family was 0. Qiao family got 1st and 4th, totally 13 points, getting 1st in the race. Other than the 1 million, the blood coral belonged to the Qiao family. Of course, the 1 million was just for sure. No one would care about this little money. The real prize was that blood coral. Yi brother, I was lucky to have you this time. I was right about you. You actually got 1st, haha. Let's go. My grandpa really wants to see you. Come to my family. Qiao Gang came up, grabbing Yemo's head with excitement after hearing the Qiao family got 1st. Yemo nodded. Okay, let's go to your family and see. If there weren't the blood coral, Yemo wouldn't go to the Qiao family no matter what. He had a lot of things now, but he needed to make sure if this blood coral was something of the cultivation realm. If it really was what he imagined, he would ask for it from the Qiao family. Yemo's big name was out. Although the Qiao family was a family larger than the Yi family, they didn't dare to treat Yemo carelessly. They were very polite to him. Although Qiao Jin didn't come out to greet Yemo personally, he still came out during the feast. Mr. Yi, it was really lucky to have you this time. If it wasn't you, the blood coral wouldn't come to our Qiao family. Xiao Gang made a good friend this time. Come, Mr. Yi, cheers. Xiao Shibao seemed to care about the blood coral the most. His eyes were full of excitement. Yemo smiled. Just some small things, not to worry. I wonder if I'm able to see this blood coral? Yemo didn't really like this Xiao Shibao. He was too materialistic, so when he spoke, he didn't even have a title for Xiao Xingbao. If he confirmed that the blood coral wasn't what he was looking for, he would leave the Qiao family without hesitation. In this Qiao family, other than Qiao Gang, who he had a good impression, he really didn't give a shit about the others. Qiao Xingbao was obviously hesitating. In his eyes, although Yemo's name was out, this blood coral concerned great things. Fourth uncle, it's just having a look. It's no big deal. Qiao Gang immediately interrupted. Qiao Zheng laughed. Go, bring out the blood coral. Let everyone see. The leader of the family, old man Qiao, even said this. Qiao Ximbao immediately had nothing to say. Although he really didn't want to take out the blood coral, he could only go in and bring it out. As soon as the blood coral came out, there was faint spirit chi circulating it. Although it wasn't thick, Yemo immediately knew that his original guess was wrong. This blood coral really was a spirit herb of the cultivation realm, but it also existed on Earth, and even the name was the same. If he had this blood coral, perhaps he could reach stage 4 immediately. Qiao Sheng was an old fox. He looked at Yemo's eyes and immediately knew that Yemo was also into this blood coral. Before Yemo said anything, Qiao Sheng quickly said, If this blood coral didn't concern the future of our Qiao family, it didn't matter if we gave it to you. However, this blood coral could allow 3 of the Qiao family members to reach yellow level. So other than the blood coral, Yi friend can bring up any other requests. Yemo didn't expect Qiao Jing to talk like this. He didn't even say anything yet, but he immediately replied. Mr. Qiao, this blood coral is very useful to me. If the Qiao family only need fortune to enter the yellow level, I can help with that. I can provide the pills for 5 Qiao family members to reach yellow level and 1 to reach black level. I will use all those to trade for this blood coral. Blasphemy! A cold voice sounded. Qiao Gang immediately stood up. Qiao Jijun, what's the meaning of this? If Yi brother says he can, then he can. Qiao Xingbao sneered and reproached to Qiao Jijun. Zijun, Yemo is a honored guest of our Qiao family. Don't be disrespectful. Then, he turned to Yemo and said, Sorry, blood coral is too important to our Qiao family. We can't agree to your request. This is a card to show our gratitude. When he took out the card, Qiao Xingbao sneered. This Yemo was really full of shit. He dared to think of such an easy way to trick the Qiao family's blood coral. Stop dreaming. Taking out pills to reach yellow and black level, he probably thought the whole world was as dumb as him. Yemo frowned and said faintly, So you mean you don't believe that I can take out those pills? Yemo frowned and said faintly, So you mean you don't believe that I can take out those pills? Qiao Sheng also frowned. They had dropped a broad hint, and Yemo still said something like that. It was crossing the line. Taking out a pill for martial artists to ascend, what a joke. No one would believe Yemo could bring out such a thing. Did he think this was some sort of cultivation world, such arrogance? As expected, Qiao Xingbao said, Mr. Yi, you helped our Qiao family. We all know you used a lot of efforts and our family is very grateful. There's 5 million on this card, but to be honest, if it wasn't for the blood coral, we wouldn't even go to the race. As for your trade-off for the blood coral, we all know what it means, so no need to. In that case, never mind. Yemo isn't someone who hadn't seen money before. I don't care about a mere few millions. Then Yemo took the card and ripped it to pieces. Only a few millions? Were they giving money to a beggar? He treated Guotaiming's illness, and in return, what he got paid, not mention the map, only the purple coral was worth at least 1 billion. Now, he helped the Qiao family win the blood coral, but they only took out a few millions. This Qiao family was really stingy. The 4 customized cars Qiao family used were worth at least 10 million. He helped the Qiao family win, but they only took out 5 million. To be honest, Yemo didn't even know what the Qiao family was thinking. If they took out 20 or 30 million, then he would take it. He rubbed the card and stood up, saying to Tang Beiwei, Beiwei, let's go. The Qiao family was not only not grateful to him but also treated him like a liar, giving him only 5 million. This made Yemo quite uncomfortable. Until seeing Yemo and Tang Beiwei disappear from the living room, the people of the Qiao family finally reacted. Humph, he's not polite at all, he was a hilly-billy indeed. They gave him money and he was still acting up, a mere few million. He acted as though he was very rich. Was 5 million too less for helping with a race? Such greed, and he even wanted our blood coral. Keep dreaming, so shameless. Even if he didn't go, our Qiao family could still win. Qiao Jijun immediately sneered. Qiao Zheng's face was bad. This Yemo was too impolite and didn't even take the Qiao family seriously. Giving 5 million was his decision, and this was because he was Yemo. He originally planned to only give 3 million. Qiao Jing wanted to get angry, but thinking about the Song family, he sunk his anger back into his stomach. In his view, Qiao Gang's car skills were the best in the 4 families. Even if they didn't invite Yemo and invited another international racer, this race would be fine. And if they invited an international racer, the price would only be a few millions. Big brother, these Qiao family are really clueless. You're giving them more pills, but they're blind. But why didn't you take the money? That was hard-earned, why not take it? Tang Beiwei was also unhappy that her brother didn't get the blood coral. Yemo smiled. The Qiao family was asking for trouble. Even if the blood coral can allow people to reach yellow level, it wouldn't have anything to do with them if they don't have the ability to protect it, and let the Qiao family take it from them. Even if the other families got it, trouble would still occur. If they don't have the ability, don't try to eat such a big meal. As for money, a few millions, do they think I've never seen money before? I helped Guotaiming treat his illness, the stone he gave me was more than 1 billion. Tang Beiwei asked, confused. Brother, why would the Cha family be fine if they go it? Yemo said, Cha family is a semi-hidden family. If they get something, they would store it securely. Now that the Qiao family got it, and the Cha family lost 2 racers, There's no way they wouldn't leak this information to the hidden sect people. However, I will finish the business with Cha family, but just not now. Yemo thought of Zhua Aigua and Xiao Jing. Before, Zhua Aigua felt that the purple heart vine was useful to Yemo and gave it to him without hesitation, and at that time, Yemo didn't show his abilities at all. The results showed that Zhua Aigua was right and he was compensated more. Compared to Zhua Aigua, Xiao Jing was too short-sighted. Yi brother, wait for me. Xiao Gang ran here breathing heavily. After catching up to Yemo, he said, Sorry, Yi brother, I'm really sorry about this. Grandpa and the others don't believe you, I really. Yemo waved his hand and said, Young Master Xiao, it's already over, no need to talk about it. Plus, you can see it as me helping you, don't worry about the other things. But I need to remind you that although the blood coral is useful to me, I'm also asking for it for the benefit of your family. It's no good for your family holding the blood coral. Xiao Gang dazed and said stutteringly, You brother, you're going to attack our family? Yemo smiled. Young Master Xiao, you think too little of me, Yemo. I'm not concerned about a mere blood coral. Plus, even if I ate a pill that would make me a god, I still have my principle of doing things. Just looking at our connection, I wouldn't attack the Xiao family. However, just because I won't do something doesn't mean other people won't. I suggest you go out and hide for a while. You brother, if you don't attack, our Xiao family is at least a big family. Under the current society, can someone come into our house and rob us? Xiao Gang asked confused. Yemo shook his head. There are too much things you don't understand. That Cha family is a semi-hidden family, they can contact the hidden sects directly. If your Xiao family don't even know about the hidden sects, then pretend I never said anything. I've already given you a reminder. How you deal with it is your family's business. Thank you, brother. Other people don't know about your abilities, but I definitely believe you. But my grandpa doesn't believe me, Sai. Xiao Gang said helplessly. It's fine, by the way, do you know where the blood coral was found? Yemo asked casually. Xiao Gang didn't hide anything about this and said, At a place near the borders, there's a place called the Horn Strait. It's near the Southern Sea. At that time, I went with a few friends from the other families to go race there and found this blood coral washed up on the beach. Okay, thank you, we'll meet in time. Then Yemo waved goodbye to Xiao Gang and took Tang Bei Wei and left the Xiao family. After a long time of silence, Xiao Gang went back to the Xiao family and decided to tell what Yemo said to Grandpa. Blasphemy. As soon as he heard Xiao Gang's words, Xiao Xing slammed the table and stared at Xiao Gang and said, Although this Yemo isn't bad, he's too stingy. You should have less contact with him. This is a peaceful time. Do you think it's warring era? You believe robbery of homes. I think you're out of your mind. Jijun is performing better than you in many places, and you need to stay in the family and get some rest. Xiao Gang didn't expect that his grandpa would reproach him, but grandpa's words also seemed reasonable. He turned around and immediately saw Xiao Jijun's evil smile. He immediately felt angry but also knew his grandpa's authority and didn't dare to argue. Brother, are we going to Beijing now? Tang Beiwei wanted to see her mother. Yemo sighed. Going to Beijing meant he had to kill people. Killing people would make Tang Beiwei's mother sad. This was quite complicated. Thinking about this, Yemo could only say, Let's go to Ninghai and see Qingxue first. After going to Ninghai, we'll go to Beijing. Tang Beiwei didn't ask why, but she could tell Yemo wasn't in a good mood. After a while she said, Is Qingxue's sister my sister-in-law? By the way, brother, do you like Qingxue's sister or Luoying's sister? Although Tang Beiwei had seen neither of them, Yemo told her about them. Yemo dazed. Although he never heard anything about Luoying and Qingxue, he really didn't know how to answer this question now that he was being put on the spot. To be honest, I feel that brother, you're so excellent it's fine even if you have 2 wives. Tang Beiwei realized Yemo's hardship and said. Yemo felt his chin helplessly. I think I like them both, but you're my sister, you would want me to get as much wives as possible. In other words, would you want to marry someone who will get 2 wives? Sigh. Yemo didn't even get to tell Luoying about Qingxue before Luoying left. Although he had the thought of what Tang Beiwei suggested, this wasn't something he could decide. Qingxue was fine, after all. Last time, she had already expressed she didn't mind being with Luoying, but what about Luoying? Yemo had no confidence at all. If that person had as much ability as brother, then I don't mind, Tang Beiwei said immediately, but in her heart, of course she cared, she just wanted to comfort her brother. Although he didn't notice that Tang Beiwei was trying to comfort him, Yemo felt that love was irrelevant to power. Did that mean someone with great power could have lots of love? This reasoning was too absurd. His love for Luoying was really love from life to death. There was nothing in it. As for Ning Qingxue, although Yemo had no feelings for her originally, the things Ning Qingxue did for him gradually made him like this girl. If it was just gratitude, Yemo wouldn't fall in love with Ning Qingxue, but those few days the two were together, Yemo had changed his opinion of Ning Qingxue and accepted her slowly at the same time. Although his love for Ning Qingxue was different to his love for Luoying, they both came from the bottom of his heart, and there was nothing else inside. When Yemo brought Tang Beiwei to Ninghai, it was already midday on the second day. When Yemo brought Tang Beiwei to Ninghai, it was already midday on the second day. Before they reached the small yard, Yemo felt something was wrong. Ning Qingxue said she was waiting for him here, and he believed her. However, Ning Qingxue actually wasn't in this yard. Yemo and Tang Beiwei pushed open the door. The flower pots were still there, but the silver heart grasses were all dead except for one. He got someone to send them back here for Ning Qingxue to look after. The only one alive was also quite wilted. That one was the one Ning Qingxue looked after and spilt her blood on. What was going on? Yemo wanted to ask Suwei but found out that Suwei also wasn't here. However, there were still Suwei's clothes hanging out in the garden. It seemed that Suwei hadn't left yet. Brother, is Qingxue's sister not here? Tang Beiwei also felt something wasn't right and subconsciously asked. Yemo shook his head. He didn't know why Ning Qingxue wasn't here, but her firm words from before were still by his ears. I will wait for you at Ninghai. Although it was a few plain words, Emo believed Ning Qingxue said what she wanted. Before she waited till his arrival, she wouldn't leave. For this, Yemo didn't doubt it at all, but now, Ning Qingxue wasn't here. Yemo carefully checked the silver heart grass that hadn't died but found it wasn't due to lack of care. What was this? Suwei just pushed the door open and saw Yemo standing by the flower pot. When she saw Tang Beiwei, she couldn't help to sigh. Yemo was really a womanizer. Not only did he know a lot of women, but none of them was ugly. She was probably the uglier one, or perhaps she could only compare with Li Mume. Suwei, you're back? Where's Qingxue? The first thing Yemo asked seeing Suwei was about Ning Qingxue. Suwei's eyes went red and immediately told everything that had happened to Yemo. Then she said, after Qingxue had recovered, she was taken to Yu State by her family and never came back. But after Qingxue left, no matter how I took care of these silver heart grasses, they were wilted and many had died. Only that tallest one is barely living. Ning Qingxue was actually almost beaten to death. Yemo's fury immediately erupted. Who had such balls? It seemed he was too kind. Last time the Song family attacked Ning Qingxue, he hadn't even had time to annihilate the Song family, but now, other people were also attacking Ning Qingxue. A strong killing intent emanated from Yemo's body. Even Suwei and Tang Beiwei on the side took steps back subconsciously. Tang Beiwei looked at Yemo's bloodshot eyes and called out anxiously, Brother! Yemo came to his senses and howled to the sky. Regardless if it's Earth Fiend or others who hurt Ning Qingxue, I, Yemo, swear I will annihilate you in my life. From Yemo's perspective, Earth Fiend had the greatest suspicion. He just had enmity with this organization and this thing happened. He couldn't tolerate it. Not right, even if this happened, Qingxue wouldn't leave Ninghai after she had recovered. Yemo knew Ning Qingxue, she wouldn't give up waiting for him in Ninghai for that. Suwei, you said Qingxue's wounds have recovered and she left Ninghai? Emo calmed down and immediately realized that was suspicious. Xue was quite scared by Emo and now just slowly recovered. Then she said, "Yes, her wounds had fully healed, but what?" Emo frowned and asked. Sue looked carefully at Emo and said, "Because her head was injured, although she had completely recovered, she forgot what had happened this year. It means that memories recovered to the point 1 year ago. She didn't even know me, but she remembered everything clearly from 1 year ago and—" Hearing this, Yemo's heart sunk. However, he believed he could cure her. Although head injuries couldn't even necessarily be healed with Lotus Life Seed, it wasn't a serious problem. Even if he couldn't, he would just tell her what had happened in this year. After all, she just lost some memories. And what? Thinking about this, Yemo felt a little relieved. Sue sighed and said, "Qingxue lost this year's memory, but her parents were instead happy. She went back to U State listening to her parents. Qingxue's sister didn't mention you at all, and her parents didn't allow anyone to mention you." Hearing this, Yemo's heart ached. If her parents really didn't like him, even if he went to U State, he won't necessarily be able to see Qingxue. He thought about Ning Qingxue venturing dangerously into the Shenongjia just to find him, and he yearned for her more. That was when he knew that he was this important in Ning Qingxue's heart. No, he had to go see her. Even if her parents stopped him, he would go see her. "Sorry, Qingshu, it was my fault you were hurt this time." As though feeling the intense emotions in her brother's heart, Tang Beiwei subconsciously grabbed her brother's hands and called, "Brother." Yemo sighed and caressed the silver heart grass that Ning Qingxue took care of. Softness surged in his heart. That silver heart grass seemed to have felt Yemo's caress and seemed a little more lively. Xue and Tang Biu didn't interrupt Yemo, who had sunk into memories. They just looked at him, fearing that he would do something crazy. After long, Yemo looked up and asked, "Sue, what did the attacker look like?" Xue immediately said, "It was a young Taoist at first, and then came an old Taoist. That young Taoist was very lecherous, and said he was going to take Qingxue away. Qingxue ignored him, and he attacked. That young Taoist had a shield-shaped jade ornament on his belt, and it seemed to have the words Tai. Tai? Yemo repeated and frowned. Was it a hidden sect? It was very rare for people from the hidden sect to come to the cities of the mortal world, but it didn't matter. He would go ask Zhang Zhihui. "Sue, I will go see Qingxue. Please help me take care of this silver heart grass for a while." Yemo looked at the bloodied silver heart grass and felt his uneasiness in his chest. He was going to slaughter, challenging him again and again. It was either his sister or the people around him. Sue rolled her eyes on Yemo. "I know, I'm going to charge a salary next time. You two only know to let me take care of this and that." Sue heard Tang Beiwei call Yemo brother, and immediately knew this pretty girl was Yemo's sister, and not lover. However, her skin was really good. Yemo went back to the room. It was tidied very well. The small case he left to Ning Qingxue was carefully put on the head of the bed. Even the tools he used to produce pills were wiped clean, placed on a small metal rack. It was obvious that Ning Qingxue cared a lot about Yemo's things. Yemo sat on the bed Ning Qingxue slept on. There were a few books about transplants. Yemo dazed. He seemed to see Ning Qingxue sit on the bed and read these books every night, and then wait for him to come back. "Qingxue, no matter who attacked you, I won't let them go," Yemo murmured. He suddenly felt he was all alone by himself. If he had a power faction, he wouldn't need to send Beiwei away or even worry about the safety of the people around him. Power, power, I will establish the greatest power on earth. Since I can't cultivate to a high state here, I will use my power to create the greatest power. I want something that can disintegrate Earth Fiend with one word. In that instance, Yemo had the impulse to howl to the heavens again. "Beiwei, I will send you to a place. After I'm done with the things outside, I will come back to pick you up." Yemo calmed down and said. Once he made up his mind, he wouldn't change it. It was as he said, no matter who it was, they would have to pay. After these things were done, he would form his own power. Tang Beiwei knew what her brother thought, and knew she was only a burden following him around now. Wuliang Mountain. It wasn't their first time here. Although Tang Beiwei knew that her brother would take her to some place safe, but she didn't expect him to take her here. Yemo carried Tang Beiwei on his back and ran very rapidly on the mountain. He was going to start to fight with Earth Fiends soon. He must have no concerns, so he needed to send Tang Beiwei away. Serenity was the best choice. Beiwei, after you arrive at Serenity, remember to cultivate what I taught you. If you really can't cultivate it, you can learn with Jing Xian and their stuff, but remember not to tell anyone what I taught you, Yemo said. Tang Beiwei felt very warm at heart. This was kinship. Her brother really gave her everything he had. She made up her mind in her heart. Brother, don't worry, I will work here and try to not be cumbersome to you. Tang Beiwei really did make up her mind. If she had her brother's powers today, she wouldn't need to hide everywhere, and could even help her brother. Pack those fireball charms away carefully. Don't take them out unless it's a life or death situation. Yemo was worried about Tang Beiwei's safety and gave her more than 100 fireball charms. These fireball's charms weren't so useful to Yemo. Although they were good to use, but it cost too much time to use them, and their power to Yemo was just so-so. It could be used against Earth-level martial artists, but it was barely life-threatening for tertiary stage Earth levels. It really didn't have much use, but it was good for self-defense for Tang Beiwei. Brother, I didn't think there would be people living here. Although Tang Beiwei was on Yemo's back, she was quite scared when Yemo jumped off the cliff. When she saw the road, she was more astonished. Brother, I didn't think there would be people living here. Although Tang Beiwei was on Yemo's back, she was quite scared when Yemo jumped off the cliff. When she saw the road, she was more astonished. Yemo nodded and said, Those sects don't like the boisterous mortal world, and these sort of places are more suited for cultivation. Was what you taught me that day also ancient martial arts? How come there weren't any martial arts moves? Tang Beiwei asked curiously. Yemo said seriously, What I taught you wasn't ancient martial arts, but something thousands of times more precious than it. You mustn't show it in front of others or tell anyone. As Yemo introduced, Tang Beiwei gradually knew a little more about the hidden sections. The two talked as they walked and had arrived at Serenity. Although the sect master didn't say it, she was quite grateful to Yemo. If Yemo didn't remove Jingxi, she wouldn't even be able to control Serenity. After Yemo killed Jingxi, Serenity was no longer flailing like before. No matter what Jingxian thought, she would have never expected Yemo to come to Serenity a second time and bring a very beautiful girl. Grand Jingxian, this is my sister Tang Beiwei. Because I still have some businesses unresolved, I want to let me sister stay at your place for some time. Yemo had a request and didn't dare to be rude in front of Jingxian. Jingxian looked at Tang Beiwei in surprise and then said, Mr. Yi, this is the sister you said you've lost for more than 20 years? Yemo bowed and said, Yes, my sister will live here for a while. When I come next time, there will be repayment. Jingxian sighed. Since it's your sister, then no need to talk about repayment. It's just a pity on Susu. If only you brought her here earlier. Yemo's heart was melancholic. He understood what Jingxian meant. He left his sister at Serenity also because he wanted to wait for Luoying to come back. After all that, the first thing Yemo did was to go to Yu State. He was going to see Ning Qingxue. No matter if he could cure her or not, he would still go. Ning Qingxue's father Ning Xiongfei was quite decisive and left the Ning family resolutely for Ning Qingxue. With his strong connections and capable business mind, he established a new pharmaceutical company in the short span of a year. In Yu State, Ning family was a wealthy family. As soon as Yemo got to Yu State, he didn't spend much time to know that not only did Ning Qingxue recover physically but was being the manager of Ning Zhongfei's business. The business was at the tallest skyscraper building at Yu State, and it was very easy for Yemo to find it. The building didn't belong to Ning Zhongfei yet, and his company only rented 2 levels of the building. Yemo didn't receive much questioning and went upstairs. However, the girl in reception stopped Emo. Sir, may I ask who you're looking for? The girl was quite pretty and very polite. I'm looking for Ning Qingxue. May I ask, is she here? Thinking about how he was about to meet Ning Qingxue, Emo was a bit excited. He didn't know if the exact situation was as what Sui said, but if it really was, then what would he do if he couldn't cure her? The girl showed a professional smile but didn't call and ask for permission. She asked again politely. Sir, did you make an appointment? No. Emo shook his head subconsciously. He never thought that he wouldn't be able to see Ning Qingxue. The front desk girl smiled apologetically. Then I'm sorry, sir. I can't report in clients without appointments. The front desk girl's sweet smile made Emo unable to get angry, but he didn't have a way to make the girl report in. Just when he was wondering if he should use invisibility to go in and see Ning Qingxue, there was a clanking of high heels on the ground. CEO Lan, Manager Li. The girl saw the two and greeted politely. Emo turned around and saw someone familiar. It was Li Mumei. He was happy immediately and quickly said, Li Mumei, I'm Emo. I came to see Ning Qingxue this time. Emo stopped his words. He felt the atmosphere wasn't right and Li Mumei's looks at him seemed a little weird, as though she wanted to say something. Meanwhile, the woman beside Li Mumei frowned. CEO Lan? Was it Ning Qingxue's mother Lan Yu? This meant that this CEO Lan was his future mother-in-law. Emo felt a little awkward and walked up and said, Hello auntie, I'm Emo. I came to see Qingxue. The woman still frowned, but Emo said that already, so she could only reply, Do you know me? I've heard Qingxue mention you. I believe you're Qingxue's mother, right? Emo didn't dare to be careless in front of Qingxue's mother. Seeing Li Mumei wanting to say something and Lan Yu frowning, Emo felt things weren't right and the scene sunk into silence. After a long while, Lan Yu said, Since you're Emo, come in and let's have a talk, Sai. Then, Lan Yu walked in and Li Mumei gave Emo a sympathetic look and also followed in. Emo followed the two into the office helplessly. Li Mumei went and made 2 cups of tea and then left, closing the door. Emo, I know you're someone with power, but... Lan Yu paused as though trying to organize her words and said after a while, Qingxue is my only daughter, and she is my treasure. Her dad and I won't be able to tolerate any harm to her. We work so hard just for Qingxue's future. Emo sighed and said, Auntie, don't beat about the bush. Although I'm emotional, I have done things that I won't regret. I like Qingxue, but I'm not liking her for her wealth. Lan Yu nodded and said, In that case, I'll be straightforward. Of course I know you won't care about the little wealth our Ning family has, but we care about our daughter. Ever since Qingxue knew you, she's been heavily injured twice. We almost lost our daughter. This was all because of you. This time, Qingxue was ran by a car and sent to the hospital. She was announced dead, but perhaps the heavens pitied us and Qingxue actually came back alive the second day. Speaking to here, Lan Yu rubbed her eyes. Emo saw this and sighed. He didn't blame Lan Yu. He only had respect for a mother like this, and he knew why Qingxue would come back alive. It was because she only fainted on the spot. This was all due to the necklace he made for her. It was made from precious materials and inscribed with many formations. Although spirit chi would be consumed while used for defense, after a while, it would replenish. Qingxue could wake the second day because after replenishment, the necklace recovered her life force. Looking at Emo, who was in silence, Lan Yu said again, Ever since Qingxue met you, not only did she not want to come up to you state, and always stayed at Ninghai, it was also said that she went to Flowing Snake and the desert once all by herself. After 2 near-death experiences, her dad and I can no longer handle this. This time when Qingxue woke up, the heavens pitied us and she actually lost a year of memory. Her memory is at the time before she met you. So, Emo, please, we beg you, let her live a peaceful life. Then, Lan Yu looked hopefully at Emo. She wanted Emo to take pity on the heart of parents, and not get close to her daughter again. She didn't know that Ning Qingxue also went to Shinong Jia, otherwise she would be even more concerned. Emo really wanted to fulfill Lan Yu's love for her daughter, but he couldn't, Not only did Ning Qingxue love him, but he also loved Ning Qingxue. He had no hesitation and shook his head slowly. Yemo, why are you doing this? We beg you, let our Qingxue go. Then, Lan Yu actually knelt down. Yemo was dazed. He didn't expect Lan Yu to do this. At that moment, he felt his heart ache as though something precious was going to leave him. Mum Yu. The office door was opened and Ning Qingxue in a pale yellow dress stood at the door like a goddess. She looked dazedly at Lan Yu, who knelt on the ground, and then moved her gaze upon Yemo. But soon, she reacted and rushed over to help Lan Yu up. She turned around with a face of anger and looked at Yemo and asked, "Who are you? What do you want?" Yemo opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. If Lan Yu telling him to leave Ning Qingxue made his heart ache, then Ning Qingxue's words now made his heart bleed. He knew that Ning Qingxue lost the years of memory, but his heart suddenly felt empty. That emptiness he could no accept. "Qingxue, I'm Yemo." "I know." He was interrupted by Ning Qingxue before he finished. She frowned and said, "Yemo, the engagement was determined by our previous generation. You are you and I am I. Why are you coming for me? I don't want you to come to my parents." "But Qingxue, did you not know you lost a year's memory?" Yemo said desperately. Ning Qingxue's eyes frowned more and looked at Yemo with disgust. "Qingxue isn't something you can call. I know you're the young master of the Yi family, but that has nothing to do with me. Plus, I lost my memory, but what's that got to do with you? Is there any use for you to force my mother? Please leave." Lan Yu heard Ning Qingxue's words and turned around, saying apologetically to Yemo, "You can chat with Qingxue for a while, but don't force her to do something she doesn't want. I don't want my daughter to be coerced. I'll go out first." Lan Yu heard Ning Qingxue's words and turned around, saying apologetically to Yemo, "You can chat with Qingxue for a while, but don't force her to do something she doesn't want. I don't want my daughter to be coerced. I'll go out first." Then, Lan Yu walked out of the office. She really didn't want Yemo to have contact with Ning Qingxue, but if she didn't give Ning Qingxue this chance, she would feel very uncomfortable and feel sorry to Qingxue. "Qingxue, the memory you have lost is the memory with me this year. I want to help you see if you can be treated and recover your lost memory," Yemo said softly. Ning Qingxue already had some slight anger on her face. She didn't understand why her mother would let her face Yemo alone. She had memories with this human trash? "Keep dreaming. Yemo, I know you have been kicked out of the Yi family, and you feel very bad, but I'm telling you now. My dad also separated from the Ning family in Beijing. We have no connections at all. What era is it now? Stop holding the worlds of our grandpas. I feel this is really pointless," Ning Qingxue said disgustedly. As though seeing Yemo's face was looking bad, Ning Qingxue sneered and continued, "Young Master Yi, I have memories with you? Do you think this is possible? Plus, even if I do have some memories with you, I don't want to recover them. I don't want anything to do with you, okay?" Yemo's face became pale, but he still didn't blame Ning Qingxue. He knew that a year before, Ning Qingxue detested him to the greatest extent. "Qingxue, if you believe me, let me treat you. If you have recovered your memories, I think you will understand." Yemo stood up and walked forward a few steps. Ning Qingxue immediately took a few steps back and said, "Don't come over. If you do, I will call the police. And I don't need you to treat me, and I don't trust you either. I know very well what sort of person you are. I don't need my memories to understand you. Qingxue, but you made me love you. You said you will wait for me to come back. Why are things like this?" Yemo's face became increasingly pale. He had never experienced love and had never felt what it was like for the person he loved to leave him. Ning Qingxue looked coldly at Yemo. After hearing him out, she then said, "Yemo, don't be mushy. You have finished what you needed to say. Now you can go. I know that the 1 year I was with you and you like me. Is that fine? Oh, and that year I also fell in love with you, okay. I know it all. Now can you please leave? So this is what losing feels like." Yemo murmured. His body was wobbly. He was emotional and never would have thought the one he loved would leave him. Luoying left him due to misunderstanding, but Ning Ningsi didn't even want to listen to him nor let him touch her. He didn't want to force her. Plus, even if he treated her, he might not be able to get her memories back. He had this burning sensation in his heart that made him hard to breathe. Why were things like this? Why? After a long while, Emo took out a face-preserving pill and a few golden needles and said, "I brought this face-preserving pill over just for you, and I want to help you see if you can recover your memories." Ning Qingshua's face was frost-like, and she said coldly, "Treatment is unnecessary, and face-preserving pill? Okay, I'll eat it." Ning Qingxue took the pill and ate it, then she said, "Emo, I've eaten the pill. Go, I beg you, don't try these tricks on me." Emo felt more and more depressed. He picked up the golden needle and still wanted to say something, but Ning Qingshu immediately said, "Piss off." PSH. Emo finally couldn't hold the despair and pain in his heart and spat out a mouth of blood on the office desk. After spitting out the blood, he actually felt more relieved. His mental state reached a new level. Since she wasn't his, why force it? At that moment, he seemed to have opened up and understood a lot, and wanted to howl. This was the frustration of recently being hunted, Luoying and Beiwei's things. With the thing with Ning Qingxue, it made his heart feel clumped. After spitting out the clotting blood, he felt very relieved and felt if he had any spirit grass now, he could immediately reach stage 4 Qi gathering. Emo sighed. The Buddha says, "Everything is so due to fate, starting from the begging to the end of fate. Everything is so." Perhaps he could keep that love in his heart, and treat it as past memories, no longer necessary to flip out again. Perhaps this was what it meant to be positive. Emo's mental state calmed down, and packed away the golden needles, returning to his original composure. Ning Qingxue saw the blood stain, and actually felt pain in her heart. But this feeling was very strange. She could only draw the conclusion that this Emo was immature. She never said she had any relationship with Emo, and she would never marry such a human trash. Lan Yu pushed the door open and rushed in. She saw the blood on the table and immediately said aggressively to Emo, "Emo, can we drop this? Leave, never come back to our Ning family." She thought Emo made her daughter spew blood and couldn't keep calm. "I'm standing at your Ning family's place?" Emo was calm and his tone was very bland. He actually wasn't very angry. He didn't blame Lan Yu nor Ning Qingshu. They had their lives and so did he. "That's right, where you're standing. Leave immediately. Even the patch outside the front door belongs to us. Our family doesn't welcome you." Lan Yu was worried about her daughter and wasn't going to be polite with Emo anymore. She even sounded a little childish. Emo smiled calmly. "Oh, does the sky outside also belong to your family?" Then, Emo no longer wanted to say anything. Before Lan Yu replied, he took a step outside the window and disappeared. Lan Yu and Ning Qingxue dazed for a good few seconds before coming to their senses. Emo actually couldn't handle the trauma and jumped off the building. Although Ning Qingxue looked down on Emo, she was still very worried about Emo jumping off. This was the 8th floor. He wouldn't be alive after jumping off. She rushed over to the windows and looked down. There was no trace of him. "Mom, don't call yet." Lan Yu was stumbling to call the police but was stopped by Ning Qingxue. "What's wrong, Qingxue?" Lan Yu calmed down. Ning Qingxue breathed easy and looked down before saying, "He's quite capable. There's no trace of him at the bottom, and he probably climbed down the pipes and left." "Qingxue, did you spit the blood here?" Lan Yu finally reacted now. Ning Qingxue shook her head. "No, it's Emo. He probably had some sort of trauma, sigh. He's quite pitiful actually. Abandoned by the Yi family but still not unenterprising." "Huh?" Lan Yu stared straight at the blood stain. Ning Qingxue didn't know, but she knew all too well. Suddenly, she felt that she did this thing very wrongly. After long, Lan Yu sighed. Let the past be. Qingxue had her own life, and Emo had his new life. Qingxue didn't remember the days with Emo, and that was why she felt Emo was pitiful. But Lan Yu was all too clear about Emo's power in Beijing. "Mom, my heart is aching. I want to go back and rest for a few days." Ning Qingxue felt her heart pulsing with pain. She had never had such condition. "What's happening today?" Lan Yu had a sliver of worry flash across her eyes and quickly replied. "Okay, let Momei rest with you for a few days. Don't worry about the company. There's your dad and I here." After Yemo left U State, his mood was down but his mental state broke through again. Now, he had dropped the sadness. Pursuing cultivation and long life was his path. He was to go to the Song family next and finish things up, then, he would immediately try to go for stage 4. After he was stage 4, it would be time for him to get revenge against Earth Fiend and time when he established his own power. No matter for himself or the people around him, he needed a strong power to provide protection. His cultivation also required large amounts of money. With money, he could make all sorts of pills and make money faster. However, with more money, he also needed power to protect it. Before going to Beijing, Emo stopped by Ninghai to look at that silver heart grass. It seemed to have gained some life force. Su Wei hadn't finished work yet, and he didn't wait for her. Su Wei was very meticulous. She would do well what she promised. Next time when he came back, he wouldn't mind giving her a face-preserving pill. As for Yun Bing, Emo didn't go to see her. He was originally planning to go to the university and ask about Shishio, but he had already graduated, and if he were to go to ask about him in Ninghai University, perhaps he would see Yun Bing. Ever since the issue with Ning Qingxue, Emo's heart had been rejective of staying alone with women. Beijing Song family? Beijing Song family? Contrary to Song Yuanyi and Song Qiming's expectation, the incident at Wuliang Mountain had been past a few months and now, Emo still came to Song family to look for trouble. Did they think wrong? If Emo really didn't dare to come to the Song family, should they get the Song family people to come back to Beijing? Perhaps Emo didn't know the identity of Song Hai and them. The Song family didn't have the power to face off with Emo, so they could only resist for now. Now, the Song family mansion was not near as busy and populated as before. Other than Song Yuanyi and Song Qiming, there was only Song Qishan. There were originally some third-generation people here, but after Song Hai disappeared, these people were sent away by Song Qiming. Tang Jing felt really fortunate recently. Although Song Qiming wronged her before due to some reasons, he still never forgot about her. Before she died, he came and found her and gave her the warmness and love she had longed for many years. Although before, all she had in her heart was hatred for Song Qiming, seeing Song Qiming kneel down before her and beg for her forgiveness, her heart had already forgiven him. It didn't matter that she suffered so much all these years, at least Qiming came back. Although Bai Wei didn't want to come with her to Beijing, Qiming said that he wouldn't let anything happen to Bai Wei. Tang Jing had no doubt of Song Qiming's words. Although she still didn't go do surgery, her body was recovering gradually. Her face even looked healthier. Thinking that Song Qiming was with her every day, she felt this joy at the bottom of her heart. Her years of longing and hope finally had a resolution she wanted. She didn't mind if Song Qiming was rich or powerful. In her heart, she only wanted to be with him, and that would be the greatest joy of life. Sometimes, Qiming would even sit with her for an entire night without any requests. He just sat with her like those years ago. Tang Jing knew that Qiming wouldn't come today because he said he had a lot of work and would come back late. So, she made him some lotus soup. She didn't want him to work too hard. She still had a surprise for Qiming. It was that she could walk now. Song Qiming's office usually didn't allow others to come in. But he told her that others didn't include her. No one could replace her in his mind. He missed her for 20 years and didn't want to spend the rest of his life regretting. So, Tang Jing didn't mind that Song Qiming's office didn't allow others to come in. And now, there was barely anyone in the Song family mansion, so no one cared about this. What made Tang Jing disappointed was that when she came to Song Qiming's place, she noticed the second floor's lights were off. That meant that Song Chiming hadn't come back yet. There was the sound of car rumble that drove into the room. The car didn't stop at the outer garden but drove straight in. Tang Jing knew that Song Chiming came back. Her heart rejoiced and wanted to bring the lotus soup over, but she saw two people get off the car and stopped herself in her tracks. Song Chiming got out, but there was also another young girl. The two seemed quite intimate, and the girl was holding Song Chiming's arms. Didn't he tell her that he was divorced? And even if he didn't, this woman was not much older than Bai Wei. Tang Jing suddenly felt her hands shaky. She didn't mind Song Chiming bringing back a girl, but she cared that Song Chiming lied to her. Song Chiming and that girl had walked under the office and were hugged together. There was the sound of hook-up and seductive moans. Tang Jing didn't believe this was the Song Chiming who stayed with her every night before. She was deeply disappointed but didn't hate Song Chiming. Perhaps her body wasn't well and she couldn't stay with him. That's why he was acting like this. Let's go upstairs. Song Chiming finally gasped and squished the girl's boobs and said, "MNHM, is that old woman still in the house? She's really annoying." The woman's voice sounded very sulky and was obviously unhappy. Song Chiming sighed. "I have no choice. Our Song family is being threatened too much by that Emo. She's Tang Beiwei's mother. I took her over just so that Emo would have some concern. Originally, I thought that according to Yemo's personality, he might quite possibly not do anything to the Song family due to Tang Beiwei's mother, but I think we've thought too much. He's by himself and he doesn't dare to do anything to the Song family no matter how strong he is. As for Tang Jing, let her be. Our Song family can still afford to feed a useless person." The woman gasped into laughter. "Treating your old lover like a dog to feed. What old lover? Don't discuss me. Perhaps I would be interested in her 20 years ago, but now, it's the hardest time of my life each night I talk to her. Sigh, don't worry about her. I just didn't expect her daughter to be Yemo's sister. She's really lucky. Otherwise, why would I even care about her?" Song Chiming seemed to have thought of Tang Jing's looks and frowned. That woman laughed again. "I heard that Tang Beiwei is a real beauty. You must be interested in her. How come you don't seem yourself when you talk about her?" Song Chiming smiled. "Pity she's Yemo's sister. Our Song family shouldn't mess with him anymore. Be gentle. I know you're interested in that girl. You even dare to fuck me." The woman called, and then her mouth seemed to be blocked by something. After a long while, she gasped and said, "Of course I wouldn't mind about that Tang Jing. Who I care about is the tigress of your family. To be honest, I still need to thank that Emo. If it wasn't for him, how could you send away that tigress? How do we dare to do this here, She only spoke half the sentence, and her mouth seemed to have been blocked by something. At the corner, Tang Jing's hands and feet went cold. The bowl of lotus soup fell on the grass, but she didn't seem to notice at all. The person who asked for forgiveness in front of her was this sort of person. She suddenly felt that all the power of her body was going to leave her. Emo sighed. He originally came here to kill the Song family people, but he saw this scene. He couldn't help but to feel sad for Tang Beiwei's mother, falling in love with such a man. Did she really not know what Song Chiming really was like? Did she really believe everything Song Chiming said? Emo didn't believe it. Tang Jing was just cheating herself. Perhaps she knew she didn't have long to live, so she wanted to die with happiness, not a life of losing hope. Sometimes, there is no reason for love. Emo thought of Luoying. Would his love for her change because of anything else? He believed that Luoying wouldn't betray him, but if she did, Emo asked himself and found that he would still like her just like how he loved Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue was so indifferent to him, but he didn't blame her, nor did he resent her. He just enveloped that love and left it untouched. Perhaps this was what Tang Jing was like to Song Chiming. Even though she knew that Song Chiming was tricking her, she would still rather cheat herself, but now, she could no longer do that. Emo believed that she must have regretted coming out to see this scene and hearing those words. Emo saw Song Chiming carry that girl and the two rustled upstairs. Meanwhile, Tang Jing spat out a mouthful of blood after a long while, then she stood up slowly. She actually looked at Song Qiuming wistfully before leaving. Looking at Tang Jing's weak body like a small leaf in the frosty wind, Emo actually felt uncomfortable. Why did she have to love such a man? But he couldn't help her at all, and he knew that if he killed Song Qiuming today and Tang Jing knew tomorrow, she would be very sad. However, even so, he would still kill Song Qiuming. From today on, he wouldn't let himself into trouble due to being soft on his enemies. He had to kill Song Qiuming. However, after things here were done, he would take Tang Jing to live with Tang Beiwei. The light beside the bedroom lit up. Song Qiuming and that girl were already rolling together. That girl's clothes were completely ripped apart, revealing two busted white rabbits. Song Qiuming's two hands already started rubbing and squishing. At the same time, he was also trying to take off the clothes on himself. That woman seemed thirstier than Song Qiuming and had flipped on top of Song Qiuming more than once. Emo respected Song Qiuming's stamina. He was in his 50s to 60s, but he still had so much energy. Emo raised his hand and a gust of wind shot out. That voracious woman was knocked out cold on the bed. Song Qiuming didn't even notice it at all until the woman stopped moving. "Xiao Yu!" Song Qiuming called out worriedly. "You don't need to call. I've already knocked her out." Emo's cold voice sounded. Song Qiuming's body shook and suddenly turned around. Under the dim yellow light, Emo's figure stood by the doorway. Song Qiuming was covered in cold sweat. After a long while he asked, Who are you?" "I'm getting some payback," Emo said, and a curved sword suddenly appeared in his hands. "I'm getting some payback," Emo said, and a curved sword suddenly appeared in his hands. Song Qiuming looked at Emo, not knowing where his curved sword appeared from. But immediately, he reacted and said in a shaky voice, You are Emo? That's right. You're very smart. You know you owe me. It's just that I've been busy lately and only had time for this today." Emo's voice was very cold. Song Qiuming was the leader of a family. Although he was very worried, he soon forced himself to calm down. "Young Master Yi, the thing between our family and you is a complete misunderstanding. Although it's a misunderstanding, I've completely dispersed the Song family to show my apology to you. If you can let the Song family go once, I'm willing to swear that from today on, our Song family will just be a dog of yours." "What a big misunderstanding," Emo sneered. "I'm not someone who exterminates. I've let your Song family go on more than one occasion, but you challenged my bottom line. You dared to harm even Qingxue and Beiwei. You even made my sister harm me. I'll let you die with a clear mind. But don't worry, those vermin breed of you Song family. I won't leave one behind if I see one." Song Qiuming's face had the look of extreme desperation for life and said desperately, "That had nothing to do with our Song family. It was all Dongfangxi's plan. Our Song family never." Before he finished, he could no longer say anything anymore. Emo had shattered Song Qiuming's aorta with his fist. Even as he died, he still had the look of trying to explain something. Emo didn't use a sword to kill him. The sword was just to scare him. There were no marks on both the inside and outside of Song Qiuming's body. Even though Emo did this, many people would still guess he killed Song Qiuming, but Emo was still going to do this. Sometimes, even though everyone knew, he still needed to put up a show. If Song Qiuming was killed by him blatantly, this thing couldn't be suppressed. After all, Song Qiuming was an influential person. He threw Song Qiuming next to the woman. Emo killed Song Yuanyi and Song Qishan next. There were only these three important people in this mansion. Although there were still some maids and gardeners, Emo never wanted to kill everyone. He didn't even kill the guards. As for Song Yuanyi and Song Qishan, Emo just burnt them to ash. He only left Song Qiuming's body. Although he didn't kill all of the Song family's direct descendants, Emo still felt a lot better. He had been constantly hunted by the Song family, and now he finally killed a few leaders of the family. Then, Emo headed towards where Tang Jing was. He wanted to tell her that he would bring her to Beiwei. However, what Yemo didn't expect was that Tang Jing actually suicided. He felt a little sad. Tang Jing was a tragic woman and didn't even achieve some small aspirations in the end. He wished she would meet a good person next life. Yemo silently burned Tang Jing's body and used a jade box to hold her ashes. He would give it to Beiwei next time. After leaving the Song family, Yemo didn't go find Yiling. If he did now, it would be blatantly telling everyone that he killed the people at the Song family. The second day, news got out that Song Qiming and his niece's wife were naked on the bed together, and Song Qiming died of overexcitement. Then, the first-in-command Song Yuanyi disappeared. The Song family fell into a deeper abyss after dispersing. The Song family of the 5 big families of China was like the sun of dusk, slowly falling down. At this moment, Yemo had left Beijing. He went on the train towards Xian Mountain. His destination was Sharp Sea Corner, the place Xiao Gang and them found the blood coral. It was on his way, so he also wanted to see how Fang Nan was doing. He had agreed to help him but was delayed by all sorts of things. He also needed Fang Nan to help him with something this time. Because Yemo didn't buy a ticket and just jumped on, the first thing he wanted to do was find a seat. However, because Beijing was the first station and there weren't many people going to Xian Mountain, there were still some free spaces on the train. Yemo found a seat as soon as he got on. "Brother, are you going to Jinko?" Yemo just got on and the middle-aged man opposite him greeted and passed a cigarette. Yemo pushed the cigarette back and smiled. "I'm going to Xian Mountain, but I don't smoke. I saw that you didn't bring a bag and I thought you were going to the closest station, Jinko. Xian Mountain isn't close. Even with this express train, it would take a whole day." This man was very meticulous. Yemo noticed this man's hand had a lot of calluses and his muscles were very tight. It could be seen that he practiced martial arts. Although his inner chi cultivation didn't have a level yet, or never even cultivated it systematically, normal people wouldn't be a match for him. "It's good not to smoke. I'm an old smoker. Brother, are you going to Xian Mountain to get rich?" This man packed the cigarettes away. Although this man just introduced himself suddenly, Yemo didn't dislike him. Perhaps it was due to his look. Although he was very skinny, his eyes had spirit and didn't seem dodgy. Yemo hated those with dodgy glances. He didn't like those type of people. They were either really calculative or weak and timid people. "No, I just want to go to Guilin. Xian Mountain is just a passing-by place." Yemo didn't hide his destination. "Guilin?" The middle-aged man frowned. Then, another 2 people came. It was a young woman in her mid-20s and another youth with shades. It seemed the 2 were together. They both carried big bags. The young man had some looks and dressed very simply. Her clothes were modest. This youth seemed scholarly and weak. The young woman smiled at Yemo and said to that youth, "Xiao Gong, you can sit on the opposite side." Then, the young woman sat beside Yemo. The man continued, "Brother, Guilin isn't a peaceful place. Why are you going there?" Yemo smiled but didn't reply. The young woman sitting beside him had a faint smell of blood. Yemo had experienced countless killings, so as soon as this young woman sat down, he felt it. And this young woman had a little worried look. It meant that she killed before getting on the train. If she just injured someone, she wouldn't have this bloody smell, but perhaps it was her first time, so she felt scared. But no matter how much this woman killed, it was irrelevant to him. He smiled and looked at the middle-aged man. "I have a friend whose business isn't going too well. I'm going to help him." Yemo was talking about Fang Nan. He did indeed want to go help Fang Nan. Fang Nan was a good person, and he also wanted to create his own power faction. Fang Nan was a good choice. "Your friend is doing business at the border? I heard that those people who can do business at the border aren't simple people. They've all seen blood and big scenes. They pretty much all killed before. Only then can they strike fear in others," this middle-aged man said with a strange expression. Yemo looked deeply at the man and immediately knew that he wasn't simple. He talked about blood purposely. Who would talk about this the first time they met a friend? This was too absurd and didn't even suit the topic of the conversation. However, Yemo knew that this man could also tell what the woman did. He said this all just to comfort the woman. As for why he was doing this and how he knew, Yemo didn't know. Yemo smiled, he didn't express his opinion and just didn't talk anymore. However, the young woman beside Yemo shook and gradually calmed down. This man just said a sentence to test. Although he didn't know what was with the woman, but he could tell something was wrong. However, he was more testing Yemo. Now that he saw that Yemo just smiled to his words and not say anything, he immediately knew Yemo was no ordinary person. I'm called Zhang Jian. I'm planning to go have a look at Xian Mountain. Brother, what business does your brother do? Haha, if it's suitable, I also want to find something to do. Zhang Jianyan's words were obvious. He was asking if there was an opportunity for cooperation. Hearing his words, Yemo had an idea. This guy had a meticulous heart and was observational. Now that he asked this question, Yemo knew that he was someone bold, and then considering how he comforted the woman, it meant that he was a decent person at last. Thinking about this, Yemo nodded. I'm Yemo. My friend is called Fong Nan. He's about to do big business. If Zhang brother wished to cooperate, it's fine. We are in need of people. Just when Yemo finished and before Zhang Jiayan could reply, a few police officers who looked serious reached out to Yemo. That youth and the woman saw the police come over and immediately became pale. They even started shivering. Yuan Meixiang, Yuan Gong, you two really know how to run he, but now, someone suspects that you two are involved in a murder case at Jingkou, Fanhe Town. You must go back for investigation. The head police seemed weak and fat, but his tone was very serious. Yuan Meixiang, Yuan Gong, you two really know how to run he, but now, someone suspects that you two are involved in a murder case at Jingkou, Fanhe Town. You must go back for investigation. The head police seemed weak and fat, but his tone was very serious. That young woman calmed down instead and looked around before saying, You don't need to do anything. I will go with you guys, but I know that as long as I go, I will have no hopes of coming back out again, so I will tell what happened to everyone here. I will let everyone know what is hiding in this world. Take her away. Yuan Meixiang, if you have anything to say, tell your lawyer. The police didn't wait for this young woman to finish and yelled. Haha! My lawyer, as long as I fall into your hands, I would be devoured whole. That Yuan Meixiang girl started laughing out loud, but her face was getting more and more miserable. The two policemen behind the fat police had already came up. They grabbed her hands and was going to cuff her. Let her go. Let her speak. What can't other people hear? Zhang Jiayan suddenly stood up and pointed at the few policemen and said. The fat police narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhang Jiayan coldly and said, What, you are going to help the culprit resist arrest? Zhang Jiayan smacked down on the tea table. Resist arrest? Just you, stop thinking so highly of yourself. You're only a small traffic police. What right do you have to call me helping others to resist arrest? I've seen all sorts of big scenes. You just said she was a suspect and now, she just suddenly became the culprit. White really becomes black in your mouth. Good job, good job. Sister, just tell us your situation. There are so many people here. I want to see who wouldn't let you speak. As soon as Zhang Jiayan spoke, there was chit-chat in the carriage. Obviously, there were a lot of people who thought Zhang Jiayan was right. They should give Yuan Meixiang a chance to speak. Who do you think you are, teaching a traffic police what to do? Don't you believe that I can take you away as well? The policeman behind the fat police said impatiently. Zhang Jiayan laughed and took out a certificate and a few honor badges. Who am I? I'm a soldier. When I was spilling blood for the country, where were you? Am I not even allowed to speak? The fat police scanned and saw that military certificate. It seemed like a veteran certificate, but not really, and there was a second-level honor and a third level. There were so much honor rewards, and the fat police was also shocked, but he was smart and didn't take these rewards to look at. Because if he didn't look at them, then he could say that he didn't know. Yuan Meixiang saw that these few policemen didn't say anything and didn't continue to cuff her. She knew that this was her opportunity, and immediately cried and said, 3 years ago, I just graduated from the University of Finance. When I passed by Jingkou, Fannan town, I was being taken into custody illegally by Dosun and was forced to marry him. During the time, if I didn't do one thing that he wanted me to do, he would beat me viciously. Then Yuan Meixiang flipped up her clothes, showing all the marks on her body and hands. They were shocking. Completely disregard of law. Zhang Jiayan smashed down on the table furiously. Even the passengers in the carriage saw her and felt sympathetic for her. Yuan Meixiang wiped her eyes and continued. Half a year later, I found the opportunity to escape and went to the police department at Fanghe town, but not only was I not sent away but was instead beat up again and brought back by Do Senator. Then, I had a child, but it was sold by Dosun and I wanted to run away again, but this time, Dosun guarded me closely and tortured me even more. But this wasn't it. The animal didn't have money and actually wanted me to sleep with his friends and wanted me to sell my body to get money for him. I wouldn't comply no matter what. Later, my brother Yuan Gong found me. He looked for me for 3 years and the first thing he did when he found me was go to the police, but I stopped her. Even so, this was found by Dosun, this animal. He got people to tie my brother up. I begged him to release my brother. This weak-looking youth rubbed his eyes and held Yuan Meixiang, who was about to fall. Yuan Meixiang sniffed. Dosun agreed to my request, but just when I was celebrating, a friend of his couldn't help anymore, and told me Dosun's real plans. This animal was planning to sell my brother's kidney. That night, while Dosun was drunk, I stole his keys and let my brother out. But just when we were about to escape, we were found by Do Senator. I fought with him and accidentally cut his neck. This thing has nothing to do with my brother. I know that if I went in, I would have no return, but I beg you to let my brother go. He is innocent. Animal! Zhang Jiayan was furious. Is there no law anymore? Dosun, this animal deserved his death. If it was me, I would have killed him 100 times. Why can't you come out after you go in? You bunch of policemen, the country I fought for with my blood is going to be polluted by you like that? The few policemen frowned. They wanted to capture this woman away, but they feared public outrage. Just when the few policemen didn't know what to do, the train had arrived at the news station, while Yuan Meixiang said miserably, Because Dosun's brother is the captain of the Fanghe Police Department. I heard that the previous captain was a righteous man and was harmed by Do Senator, so if I go in, I'd be dead for sure. It was I who killed Do Senator. It has nothing to do with my brother. I just want you guys to let my brother go. Okay, you've finished. Now there will be someone to take you away. Whatever your situation is, you can tell it at the police department. The fat police looked hesitantly at Zhang Jiayan before saying to Yuan Meixiang. Zhang Jiayan was full of anger. He knew that he couldn't stop the fate of them being taken into the police station, but his personality compelled him to stop this. Killing my brother, how dare you, you evil bitch, you actually ran this far. Another 2 policemen rushed into the carriage. The one walking at the front had triangular eyes. As soon as he came in, he saw the 2 and had violent gazes from his eye. Obviously, in his eyes, the 2 were already dead. Do Lin. Yuan Meixiang saw the triangular-eyed man and finally couldn't stop shaking her body. Yemo patted Zhang Jiayan, who was about to talk. When that Do Lin attacks me and when he gives his verdict, help me record things. Zhang Jiayan dazed. Although he didn't know what Yemo meant, he still took out his phone and nodded. Old F.A., how come you still haven't cuffed her? Handan, take these 2 murders away. Do Lin looked coldly at the brother and sister. You are Do Sen's brother Do Lin? Your brother raped a woman and abused her, and also sold organs. I think you helped out quite a lot, didn't you? Scum. Yemo walked out and stopped the triangular-eyed man, saying coldly. He only needed to look at Yuan Meixiang's expression and tone, and he would know that she didn't lie. She even avoided using extreme words. Originally, Do Lin was going to tell Yemo to piss off, but when he heard the word scum, he could no longer control his anger and kicked towards Yemo. Yemo sneered and kicked first onto Do Lin's Achilles tendon before patting his forehead. Then, he continued to ask, "Tell me everything. All the bad things you did being a police and who you harmed." Who would say the bad things they did? Just when everyone thought Yemo was dumb, Do Lin's eyes became dazed, and hearing Yemo's words, he murmured, "I killed Captain Ba because he knew that I raped Dushi's daughter and he wanted to arrest me. I provide all the girls at the Jinko brothels. They are all girls from outside who come here to work. I have made a deal with T-Boss that it's 50-50 profit." Everything Do Lin said was bloody and gruesome. There were so many people in the carriage, but they all felt shivery. There was actually such an inhuman trash in this world. Yemo looked back at Zhang Jiayan and asked, "Did you record everything?" "Yes, I didn't expect these two brothers to be such bastards. They are worse than animals. I really want to kill him right now." Zhang Jiayan stared at Do Lin, who knelt down. His eyes were pouring with flames. Yemo smiled and pulled out a gun from somewhere and fired at Do Lin's forehead. He actually killed Do Lin in front of all these people. Silence, the entire carriage sunk into silence. Even if Do Lin could be sentenced to death 10,000 times, he couldn't be killed here. And this person carried a gun with him. "You have a gun?" After a moment, the fat policeman stared at Yemo and asked while taking a few steps back. Obviously, he was worried Yemo would attack him. Yemo looked at Han Dan, who came with Do Lin, and said coldly, "I originally planned to kill you as well, but you still have some uses. If you can't provide me with important sources, I will still kill you." Although Han Dan had a gun, he was shaking and subconsciously nodded. Yemo then turned around and said to the fat police, "Indeed, I have a gun and I killed him. Show me document to the captain of this train." Then, Yemo took out his blue booklet and dumped it to the fat policeman. The fat police wasn't dumb. It was still incredible that Yemo dared to open fire in public despite he obtained the crime evidence first. After all, normal special agencies weren't allowed to do this, but this youth in front of him did. It could only mean that his background was absurdly strong or his status was absurdly powerful. The fat police wasn't dumb. It was still incredible that Yemo dared to open fire in public despite he obtained the crime evidence first. After all, normal special agencies weren't allowed to do this, but this youth in front of him did. It could only mean that his background was absurdly strong or his status was absurdly powerful. Those few policemen left quickly. They even took away Do Lin's body. They came and went really fast. Not only did Zhang Jiayan realize Yemo was no ordinary person, but the entire carriage knew. At that moment, the whole carriage became a lot more quiet. Zhang Jiayan had a lot of experiences. He took back his things and saluted to Yemo with his fists. "You brothers' actions are really satisfying. It's my honor to meet you. I thought you brother was a business person. I'm really blind." Obviously, Zhang Jiayan knew that there were a few people who had the permit to kill. Yemo was undoubtedly one of them. But he knew that even if Yemo had a killing permit, he couldn't kill in public like this. That's why he said Yemo's actions were really satisfying. Those who had the killing permit were all the elite of the country. There's no way they would be doing business. Thus, he thought Yemo was lying to him before. Yemo waved his hand. "Zhang brother, you applaud me too much. In fact, I quite like you despise of the wicked character. However, I'm not lying when I told you I was going to the border to do business. I really am going. Although I properly own a gun, it's only cooperation relationship." Yemo's simple sentence dropped a huge bombshell in Zhang Jiayan's heart. Cooperation relationship? Who had the ability to cooperate with a country? If what Yemo said was real, then his power would be absurd. The Yuan sister and brother still hadn't come to reality yet. They were still in shock and disbelief. Do Lin, who was so cocky, was just killed by the youth in front of them so easily. Even so, the youth still seemed to be conversing casually. At this moment, a fatter man ran over with Yemo's permit. Behind him followed the fat police. This fatter police came up to Emo and saluted before giving back Emo's document with both hands. I'm the captain of this VK8977 train, Wan Yutian. Ye instructor, this is your document. Emo took the document and asked for Zhang Jiayan's storage card and passed it to this fat police. This is Do Lin's verdict. Everything is clear. Pass this to the Beijing Police Department. Tell them I said this. As for the matter at Jingkou, I will ask about it next time I come back to Beijing. Yes, ye instructor. This fat train captain's salute was very up to standard. Okay, the things here are done. I will take away the sister and brother. Their verdict has been heard by the other 3 policemen, Emo said plainly. Seeing the captain take these few police away, Emo sighed and his desire for power grew stronger. This was the benefit of authority. Without the document, no matter how strong he was, he could only leave after killing but not sit here safely and still not do things according to the rules. Although he knew that taking the 2 away was heavily against the rules, but no one said anything. At this moment, Yuan Meixiang realized what was going on. She didn't expect things to have such a twist, and never had she expected that she would be able to leave unscathed. In her excitement, she was about to kneel down to Emo in gratitude. Emo waved his hand. Just something small, no need for it. I heard you're a graduate of accounting and finance? Yes, after I graduated from the University of Finance, I was preparing to work at Jingkou. Then I met that bastard. Yuan Meixiang spoke and still had anxiety in her eyes. Emo nodded. I will go to do some business. If you have nowhere better to go, then help me do some finance. Of course, if you have a better place to go or need to go back, that's fine too. I'm sure they won't dare to come for you again. I'm willing to go do business with you, however, my brother needs to go to school. In order to find me, he has wasted 3 years of study. Yuan Meixiang's tone was filled with gratitude to Emo. Okay, then you can follow Zhang brother from now on. After I see Fan Nan, I'll think about what to do in the future. As for your brother, he can stay at Guilin and go to school. Emo was happy that he recruited a few on the train. Although he didn't know how good Yuan Meixiang was, but he quite approved of Zhang Jiayan. In a dark room in Guilin, Fan Nan was still lying on the bed, but now there were only 3 henchmen left. Other than Rock and Xiao Tai who were loyal to him, there was that Xiaohua. Xiaohua was the one who met Emo at Beijing. Nan brother, it has been a few months but Yi brother still hasn't come. Should we change places? Xiao Tai asked hesitantly. Rock and Xiaohua both weren't here. Only Xiao Tai was in the room looking after Fan Nan. Fan Nan understood Xiao Tai's words, because he didn't dare to show his face in Guilin or even go to the hospital. Plus, he didn't have money to go to the hospital. Xiao Tai's words meant that Emo wasn't going to come and didn't want Fan Nan to keep waiting. Fan Nan shook his head. Xiaohua goes nearby the airport every day. He will be able to find Yi brother. I believe Yi brother. He isn't an ordinary person. He said he would come and help me, so he will. He hasn't come now because he's very busy. Nan brother. Xiao Tai still wanted to say something but was stopped by Fan Nan. Fan Nan waved his hand and said, Xiao Tai, I know what you mean, but I still believe Yi brother. Only Yi brother can cure my leg, and we will have a future only if we follow Yi brother. I won't say much more. I've seen too many people, but only Yi brother deserves me to follow him. He's a true hero. Okay, since you Fan Nan look at me in such a way, I, Emo, will give you your stage. Emo's voice sounded at the door. Yi brother. Fan Nan struggled to get up and Xiao Tai quickly went to help hold Fan Nan. A youth behind Emo squeezed in with excitement and said, Nan brother, I finally found Yi brother today. I told you Yi brother would come. Thank you, Xiaohua. Fan Nan's excitement in his eyes were unquenchable like Xiaohua's. Zhang Jiayan and Yuan's siblings didn't expect Emo's friend to be living in such a harsh place. There were putrid smells coming from the small room. This wasn't what the business they were expecting, but both of them didn't ask anything. They've only been with Emo for a short time, but they knew Emo wouldn't lie to them. Yi brother, you're here. Rock carried a big pack and walked in with Sweat. Seeing Emo, he was also very joyful and surprised. They hid here arduously for half a year just to wait for Emo. Emo nodded and took out a card and passed it to Zhang Jiayan and said, "There's some money here. Go take some out and rent a better house. We'll talk after we change the place." Zhang Jiayan didn't expect the card Emo gave him to have a few million. Seeing this amount, he was shocked. To be honest, he had never had so much money on his hands. He didn't expect Emo to trust him so much. Giving a few million to him so casually without even worrying about him doing something dodgy. Emo was someone worth being connected with indeed. Zhang Jiayan made up his mind, he must get close with Emo. Things were done fast with money. After switching a place, Emo immediately treated Fang Nan's leg. Although he was damaged badly and dragged out for a long time, it took only a week's time in Yemo's hands. After a week, Fang Nan could already walk. Yemo, however, came to Zhang Jiayan privately. In his eyes, Zhang Jiayan had an advantage over Fang Nan and Yu Eru. Fang Nan couldn't change his gangster temperament. Although he would be able to reign supreme in one region, when things got big, he wouldn't be as meticulous as Zhang Jiayan. And Eru was worse than Fang Nan. "Zhang brother." Yemo just said 2 words and Zhang Jiayan waved his hand. "Yi brother, I really do look up to you now. You're the most capable person I have seen. You could make Fang Nan walk with that sort of heavy wound. To be honest, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it. If you approve of me, just call me Jiayan." "Okay, I won't be polite then. You also saw Fang Nan. He's the leader of a gang at the borderland, Flowing Snake. But now, I'm planning for him to do some proper business for me at the borderlands. Of course, I will also need your help." Yemo saw that Zhang Jiayan was straightforward and so he was also straightforward. Zhang Jiayan immediately stood up and said, "Things should be like this. I came with you because I want to do things with you. I've retired from the army but I'm still physically capable." Yemo shook his head and said, "Due to some reasons, I need a lot of money now. So I need to establish a business empire and an enormous power corporation. This is just the start. You're not bad in kung fu, but compared to real strong people, you are still a far cry. I have an ancient martial arts cultivation method here. If you're interested, you can learn it or learn it with Fang Nan and his men." Yemo took out the cultivation method he got after killing Jing Qingfa. Although it wasn't much use to Yemo, it had great use for Zhang Jiayan and Fang Nan. This is the legendary ancient martial arts secret. Zhang Jiayan was obviously not clueless like Fang Nan. As soon as Yemo took it out, he knew how important this was to him. After another week, Fang Nan's leg was pretty much fully recovered. He could even practice a few moves with Zhang Jiayan. Yuan Meixian's face was also getting ruddier by the day. Yemo was prepared to take Fang Nan and Zhang Jiayan to Flowing Snake. After another week, Fang Nan's leg was pretty much fully recovered. He could even practice a few moves with Zhang Jiayan. Yuan Meixian's face was also getting ruddier by the day. Yemo was prepared to take Fang Nan and Zhang Jiayan to Flowing Snake. Leaving behind Xiaohua and the Yuan siblings, Yemo took Fang Nan and Zhang Jiayan and others into Flowing Snake. Yemo also knew a bit about why Fang Nan was kicked out of Flowing Snake. Xiaohua told him before, and the main reason was due to him. Ning Qingxue went to find him, and in order to protect Ning Qingxue, Fang Nan had conflicts with Shui. Then when Qiwan Qing came to Flowing Snake, he went and taught Shui a lesson. These caused the hardship of Fang Nan. Where did the amphibian gang come from? Who was Shui? How could he make the amphibian gang attack for him? Yemo thought of this and questioned. Although he didn't hang in gangs, but he had heard of all the big gangs. How come he had never heard of this amphibian gang? Fang Nan said worriedly. The amphibian gang is a branch of Nanqing. They are powerful and no one dares to mess with them. If you offend the amphibian gang, then death is your only fate. This time, we're not going to look for trouble with the amphibian gang. We just need to kick away Shui. Wei has a sister who is the lover of a vice gang leader of the amphibian gang. That's why he could mobilize the amphibian gang. But now, I heard that the gang has left Nanqing. I just don't know if it's real or false. As soon as Fang Nan finished, Zhang Jian frowned, and Yemo also sighed. This Fang Nan really was dumb. Were they going to get revenge and leave Flowing Snake immediately? If they don't leave, then they would have offended Wei again. Would his brother-in-law let Fang Nan go? Yemo didn't say anything, but Fang Nan woke up immediately and said in a troubled tone, I'm afraid that if I do something to that Wei, then her brother-in-law would come again. Zhang Jian smiled and said, That's for sure. I suggest we plan for the long term if we can't kill them at once. Although he didn't know how strong the amphibian gang was, Zhang Jian has heard of the big name of Nanqing. He knew that with their power, it was bullshit to fight with Nanqing. It wasn't that he was afraid of death. He needed to persuade them from doing some pointless thing. The amphibian gang could leave Nanqing, meaning that they weren't easy to deal with either. Yemo knew what Zhang Jian was thinking and smiled. Jian, don't worry, others are afraid of Nanqing, but they are not a threat to me. He didn't even feel threatened by Nanqing. How much power did he have? Zhang Jian was shocked, but he still chose to believe Yemo. From his many years of experiences, he felt that Yemo wasn't the type to bluff. Fang Nan had this blind admiration to Yemo. Although he knew that the amphibian gang was hard to mess with, his first reaction wasn't the revenge of the amphibian gang, but now that he remembered who the backstone of the amphibian gang was, he felt troubled. No matter how much he admired Yemo, he didn't believe Yemo could beat Nanqing, who had an army. Although he heard that the amphibian gang wasn't a part of Nanqing anymore, this wasn't a verified fact. Fang Nan, haha, you actually didn't die, you dared to come back to Flowing Snake again. If I let you go today, you are my dad. As soon as Yemo walked into Flowing Snake Town, there was an extremely cocky sound. Fang Nan's face was very bad. He scanned this guy and turned around to Yemo. Ye brother, this guy is Wei. They call him Echidna. Because there were a lot of interests in Flowing Snake, with the help of the amphibian gang, he was the person responsible at Flowing Snake. Yemo studied Wei. He seemed in his 30s and his eyes were bulging. It was obvious he had been too lustful, but his expression was very cocky. He still had 4 fearsome-looking henchmen behind him. What are you looking at? I'll gouge out your eyes later, Wei said cruelly at Yemo. Then, he looked at Fang Nan. If you tell me where are those 2 girls who came here last time, perhaps I'll let you live. You are Echidna? Yemo looked at Wei and was greatly disappointed. Regardless of whether this guy had support, Fang Nan couldn't even deal with this guy. Fang Nan wasn't really up to standard. If it was him, even if he didn't have the power to fight with Echidna, he would think of a way to kill this guy before he left Flowing Snake. Wei looked at Fang Nan and then looked at Yemo before finally understanding who was the boss. He walked in front of Yemo and waited to use his hand to lift Yemo's chin, but he only raised his hands about half an inch and had his whole arm severed by Yemo's wind blade. Yemo was no soft person. He came here to kill. Ag. A few seconds later, Wei finally yelled in pain and sat on the ground. He just lost an arm for no apparent reason. Fang Nan reacted first because he knew Yemo's power and didn't mind Yemo's killing actions at all. Zhang Jian also reacted and looked at Yemo with different eyes. Although he guessed that Yemo was an ancient martial artist when he gave him the cultivation method, he couldn't even tell when Yemo attacked just then, or even see what knife Yemo used to sever Wei's arm. Kill him! Wei shrieked, and the 4 men also reacted. They pulled out their swords and charged at Yemo. Zhang Jian and Fang Nan also pulled the curved swords from their waists. But Yemo just shook his finger to them and sliced his hand in the air twice. 2 wind blades and 4 heads were chopped down. Until the heads fell to the ground, the 4 henchmen still ran a few steps forward before falling down next to Wei. Yemo's expression was plain. To him, killing a few people was no different than stepping on a few ants. Plus, he was about to start his first business in Flowing Snake, and he needed to kill. No one would give out Flowing Snake if he just spoke a few words. Fan Nan could still stay calm, but Zhang Jian was completely shocked. He had seen many masters even yellow-level tertiary stage, but he had never seen someone as stern as Yemo. He only saw Yemo wave his hand quickly twice and didn't even see him take out any projectiles, and 4 people were killed. What shocked Zhang Jian more was Yemo's attitude towards killing. Before, he thought Yemo could stay calm after killing, probably due to the permit, but now, he knew Yemo's calm after killing had nothing to do with permit. For the first time, Zhang Jian felt he hadn't truly understood Yemo yet. He only saw the surface of Yemo. As for Yemo's origin and power, he only understood a little. Yemo was decisive in killing and knew what was important. He made him record the evidence first before killing Do Lin. When he killed here, he didn't ask about anything. It could be seen that he was meticulous, and not someone impulsive. Thinking about what he had been treated unfairly before, he thought that perhaps following Yemo, he would really be able to start a big career. Thinking about this, Zhang Jian started to get excited and made up his mind. Looking at Shi Wei, who had already fainted, Yemo said to Fan Nan, "Bring him with us. We'll smash our way into Flowing Snake the most direct way." When Fan Nan's henchmen carried Shi Wei into Flowing Snake, everyone knew that Fan Nan came back for revenge. Compared to Shi Wei, Fan Nan knew Flowing Snake more thoroughly and had more connections. The reason Shi Wei was able to stand on his feet at Flowing Snake was due to his brother-in-law. Otherwise, with his petty capabilities, he would have been devoured by others long ago. So, Yemo didn't even kill many people. He just killed more than 10 of Shi Wei's loyal men, and the entire Flowing Snake was once again controlled by Fan Nan. Some of his lost henchmen came back again. Shi Wei was dumped in front of Yemo like a dead dog. Fan Nan patted the blood stain on his body and spat on Shi Wei before saying, "Ye brother, I've already interrogated. It's said that because Qian Long Tu died and Nanqing is having internal conflicts, and it's now breaking apart. The amphibian gang declared independence due to that and no longer belongs to Nanqing. Their HQ is at the Sharp Sea Corner, and this guy's brother-in-law is already the leader of the gang." Sharp Corner Sea? Yemo thought. He was going to go there before anyways. Half a year ago at Hong Kong, he heard about the internal conflicts at Nanqing. He didn't expect that it's still going on now. It seemed that he didn't need to go to Nanqing recently. He would wait after the conflict was over and then go make himself a fortune. That Lang Ji was really useless. He still wasn't able to control Nanqing. Shi Wei woke up at this moment, and happened to hear Fan Nan's words. He immediately understood that his situation was dire, and quickly called, "Nan brother, have mercy. I'm willing to join Pu Dao gang. Spare me. If you kill me and my brother-in-law asks." Yemo frowned and said to Fan Nan, "Drag him out and finish him." Fan Nan dragged Shi Wei, who was crying out loud without hesitation. Soon, that howling disappeared. Fan Nan walked in with some blood. "You brother, Rock and Shouty have gone out to appease the people. Flowing Snake would stabilize soon." Fan Nan also knew that Yemo was going to do things at Flowing Snake. To him, too many people were interested in Flowing Snake. If Yemo didn't intervene forcefully, he would soon be devoured whole. Yemo looked at Zhang Jian and Fan Nan and nodded and said, "Okay, Fan Nan, you need to listen more to Jian from now on. We will be doing a business, not a gang. Getting money by collecting protection payments and robbing others isn't the long way to go. Flowing Snake is just the start of our business. I believe our business will get bigger and better. What we need to do is that when people hear the product is from Flowing Snake, they would go buy it regardless of price." Yemo looked at Zhang Jian and Fan Nan and nodded and said, "Okay, Fan Nan, you need to listen more to Jian from now on. We will be doing a business, not a gang. Getting money by collecting protection payments and robbing others isn't the long way to go. Flowing Snake is just the start of our business. I believe our business will get bigger and better. What we need to do is that when people hear the product is from Flowing Snake, they would go buy it regardless of price." Zhang Jiayan's eyes gleamed with light. Although Yemo didn't describe some grand scheme, he didn't doubt Yemo's actions at all. Yi brother, are we going to start a company? Fan Nan wasn't an idiot, and could tell that Yemo wanted to do a big business. Yemo nodded. The first step is to start a company. Let's call it Luoyu. Yemo thought for a moment, and remembered that he came from Luoyu continent. Looking at the gangster temperament in Fan Nan, Yemo laughed to himself, but he still needed to remind Fan Nan. Fan Nan, we're doing legal business now. Don't do the previous things anymore. I want that when I came back to Flowing Snake, it is no longer a chaotic place. I want to build a real city. I think Jiayan will understand what I mean. You should listen to him more. Jiayan nodded and said, I understand, but what will our first product be? We can't keep selling illegal products. Yemo knew this. The reason he wanted to establish Luoyu was to help him accumulate wealth and search for the herbs around the world. His ultimate goal is still to help him cultivate. Luoyu will be pharmaceutical. Of course, our main purpose is to collect all sorts of precious herbs. I have a detailed list here with some images. Jiayan can be responsible for this. From now on, Jiayan can manage Luoyu. Yemo took out the list he drew already and gave it to Zhang Jiayan. What about me, Yi brother? Fan Nan asked hesitantly. You will be responsible for the safety of the company. Once our company earns a lot of money, people will be jealous, so your job is to make Luoyu absolutely safe. Yemo said immediately. Fan Nan didn't care about the title of the position. He just blindly followed Yemo. Now that Yemo assigned this to him, he immediately patted his chest in promise. Yemo then said to Zhang Jiayan, I still have 2 disciples at Luotsang. They will be managing he products. When you have time, go to Luotsang and bring them over. As for Yuan's siblings, you can also let them help. As for heart improvement serum and beauty pill and so, Yemo had already taught Eru. He believed that as long as there were enough materials, Eru would be able to push out these few products. After arranging these things, Yemo took out all the money in his bank and transferred it to Zhang Jiayan. Then, he left Flowing Snake. He had already established his followers. He believed that if he continued like this, Luoyu would definitely be able to collect the herbs he needed, and it could be the business tycoon that shocked the world. Fall was harvest time, but not for all. The Song family was annihilated and diminishing, but this wasn't the biggest news. The biggest rupture was that the Xianjiang Qiao family was massacred in one night. Being the 3rd largest family in China who had power in both Beijing and Xianjiang, most families could only admire it in awe. But now, with the Xianjiang Qiao family being annihilated, the Beijing Qiao family also fell down a cliff and was about to exit the 5 big family stage. The 5 big families of Beijing. The Song family was diminished. The Yi family was far from its glory days. The Qiao family took such a heavy blow. The only ones who could still deserve to be part of the big families were the Zhang family and Li family. The annihilation of the Xianjiang Qiao family also warned all the other major families that they were far from being indestructible. The Xianjiang Qiao family was not without survivors. Qiao Gang was one of the 3 lucky survivors. He listened to Yemo's suggestion but was reproached by his grandpa. However, Qiao Gang believed that Yemo was no ordinary person, and Yemo gave him that feeling that Yemo was someone above the families. He didn't believe Yemo would say such thing to him for no reason. Although his grandpa Qiaojun rebuked his words, he still secretly attached a few cameras and left Xianjiang. Qiao Gang went back to Beijing and told what Yemo told him to his second grandpa Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian heard that it was Yemo's warning and was going to contact Qiaojun immediately, but at this moment, he got news of Xianjiang Qiao family being annihilated. When he got to Xinjiang, he found that all the surveillance had been destroyed except for the 3 cameras Qiao Gang secretly put down. Qiao Xian looked at the surveillance record Qiao Gang took out and sighed. Those with great wisdom in the Qiao family were too little. If they could listen to Qiao Gang's words this time, the Xianjiang Qiao family wouldn't have such a big disaster. There was only 2 black-clothed men recorded. They both weren't tall, but when they killed the Qiao family people, They were like demons. Although the cameras didn't show everything, but Xiao Xian couldn't help shake. These people were so cruel. Second Grandpa, why? Why did they do this? They can just take the blood coral. Why would they still kill everyone? Xiao Gang's eyes were red. He couldn't understand. Xiao Xian sighed and turned off the video and stared at Xiao Gang for a long while before asking, "How do you know Yemo didn't do it?" Xiao Gang dazed. He didn't expect his grandpa to ask such a question, but a moment later, he immediately said, "I have a feeling that he isn't this sort of person. If he was, then he wouldn't remind me. And the two people on the screen are both much shorter than him." Xiao Xian nodded. "Tell me exactly what Yemo told you before." Xiao Gang reminisced and said, "He told me that if the blood coral was taken by the Cha family, they would be fine, but if any other families took it, nothing good would come out of it. He also said that the Cha family was a semi-hidden family and could contact the hidden sects. Then he asked me where the blood coral was found." Xiao Xian suddenly stood up and then sat down slowly after a moment, while murmuring to himself, "The Cha family is actually a semi-hidden sect. No wonder this happened. Our Xiao family has no way to get revenge for this." Sigh. "Second Grandpa, let's give the tape to the police." Xiao Gang hadn't finished and was interrupted by Xiao Xian. "Xiao Gang, don't mention the tape and Cha family thing again, okay? If the Cha family is really a semi-hidden family, then it would be a suicide to hand the tape out. They have the power to annihilate the Beijing branch of our family as well," Xiao Xian said very seriously. Xiao Gang dazed and said after a while, "Second Grandpa, are we just going to let it go like that?" "Let it go?" Xiao Xian murmured and stared at Xiao Gang. "Xiao Gang, do you know which family is really the biggest family in China?" Before Xiao Gang could reply, he continued, "Sometimes the greatness of a family isn't just about the political power. The biggest family of China is actually the Zhang family. It's said that the Zhang family has an extreme master, but that master never goes to the Zhang family, so people gradually forget about it. And the real second family is the Song family. The Song family hid their power extremely well. People maybe guess about the extreme master in the Zhang family, but the Song family definitely has yellow-level masters and not just one. Although our Qiao family is ranked third, but in actual fact, we might be the last in the 5 great families." "Why do you say this, Grandpa?" Xiao Gang was confused. Xiao Xian shook his head and sighed. The Song and Yi family had conflict for so many years, but the Song family didn't do anything to the Yi family. Do you know why? It's because Yi family had a very strong help called Huang Yu. His long sword was invincible. But the Yi family destroyed themselves by kicking Yemo away, and this almost resulted in family annihilation. If it wasn't that the Song family also offended Yemo, perhaps there would be no Yi family in Beijing. They would have been long devoured by the Song family. Then, Xiao Xian looked at Xiao Gang and asked, "Xiao Gang, do you understand what I just said?" Xiao Gang was very smart. Although he came from a big family, he didn't have the usual rich second-generation temperament. He immediately understood what Xiao Xian was saying but asked bewilderingly, "Second Grandpa, you mean that the Yi family and Song family are both stronger than our Qiao family, but they've all diminished due to Yi brother?" Xiao Gang nodded with satisfaction. "Not bad, I'm very happy you have such understanding. Yemo told you before that if the Qiao family gave the blood coral to him, and they would be fine. He even didn't care about the Earth Fiend people. And he could still annihilate the Song family with all the devious schemes they had. This all meant that he is much stronger than what he said and did. So Yemo is a scary person. Second Grandpa?" Xiao Gang seemed to understand what Xiao Xian's intentions were, but he was still shocked. After all, Yemo was just a single person, but his Qiao family was a whole family. Xiao Xian shook his head and continued, "After that race, I also checked the recordings. The Cha family was the last, but both of their cars exploded. Do you think this is by chance? If I'm not wrong, then it must be related to Yemo. I don't know the exact complications, but our Qiao family and the Cha family already formed deep enmity. And the Chow family is actually a semi-hidden family. So if our Chow family wants revenge, we can only do it through Yemo. Xiao Gang immediately understood and said, "Second Grandpa, you want me to find Yemo?" "Indeed, we have a common enemy, and other than him, no one else can help our Xiao family. Of course, we can just sit here and wait. Although we can't hand this tape to the police, we can go find General Han Zixin. He can help us. And he definitely wouldn't just let this go. Now, leave Beijing and find Yemo immediately. You don't need to worry about things here," Xiao Xian said. "Indeed, we have a common enemy, and other than him, no one else can help our Xiao family. Of course, we can just sit here and wait. Although we can't hand this tape to the police, we can go find General Han Zixin. He can help us. And he definitely wouldn't just let this go. Now, leave Beijing and find Yemo immediately. You don't need to worry about things here," Xiao Xian said. At the Sharp Corner Sea area, the amphibian gang was the authority. No one dared to say anything to them. They were at the border, and after recently leaving Nanqing, they had become even more stronger. With Nanqing not being able to take care of itself, the amphibian gang has completely controlled the borderland commerce. When Yemo arrived at Sharp Sea Corner, the leader of the gang, Wang Jiu, had a face full of killing intent, throwing a tantrum. Wang Jiu killed the leader of the gang Huaquan half a year ago, and declared independence from Nanqing. With Nanqing's state, they didn't even do anything to the amphibian gang. So now, the amphibian gang was growing steadily, and Wang Jiu reigned supreme. Beside Wang Jiu was an exceedingly busty woman who was rubbing her eyes and weeping. "No matter who killed Shi Wei, I will make him die without a complete corpse. I will annihilate his entire family, and cut his skin off inch by inch and feed it to dogs." Facing the woman beside him, Wang Jiu was more furious. Then, he breathed heavily and took out a gun and slammed it on the table. "Investigate, even if it's the god of the heavens I want, let him go. Chinair, most of our brothers are here, bring some brothers and head to Flowing Snake immediately." There were 50 to 60 people in the hall, and in the middle was a tied-up man. To be exact, the man wasn't tied up but nailed. His ligaments were all nailed to a wooden block. His head was sagging, and it was unknown if he was alive or dead. When Yemo came to the Sharp Corner Sea, he was also shocked by the amphibian gang. The headquarters was made almost like a 5-star hotel, full of luxurious decorations everywhere. Perhaps a few years later, the amphibian gang could start a business district. Bang! Yemo kicked open the door of the amphibian gang's biggest meeting room. Looking at Wang Jiu, who didn't even react yet, and sneered, "You are the leader of the amphibian gang? You don't need to go find me. I've already come." Wang Jiu dazed for a moment and shot up. "How dare you! You killed Shi Wei! You dare to show your face! Don't kill him! Capture him first! I'll teach him who's the real boss here." Before Wang Jiu finished, a few bulky tattooed men already charged up, while Wang Jiu looked coldly at Yemo and sneered. "You learned kung fu for a few days and you think you can do something? I'll make you pay for the school fees today and give you a taste of what it's like being nailed to wood. Who's the guard today? He dare let him." Wang Jiu suddenly stopped as he looked at the center of the room with his mouth wide open in shock. Those 4 men who charged up already lost their heads. "You!" Wang Jiu looked at Yemo in shock and wasn't able to react in a long time. It was just a few seconds and his 4 henchmen lost their heads. "Kill him!" Wang Jiu soon understood what was happening and yelled while firing a shot with his gun at Yemo. Yemo sneered and grabbed the bullet Wang Jiu shot while throwing it back. The bullet pierced Wang Jiu's wrist and his gun fell onto the floor. At this moment, the tens of the gang members had surrounded Yemo. Yemo suddenly spun around and started to ascend in the air. At the same time, his 2 hands kept sending out wind blades with some fireballs. Blood flew everywhere, and the entire room was like hell. Wang Jiu was completely dazed. He already forgot that his wrist was shot and forgot that Yemo took his bullet with his bare hands. How did such a person exist in the world? Was he even human? Killing people in this way? And fireballs? Yemo's wind control could only last a few minutes, but after a few minutes, he landed in front of Wang Jio. The gang members in the meeting room had all become bodies. Most of them have already turned to ash. You! Wang Jio's mouth was dry as he pointed at Yemo shakily. What sort of scenes hadn't he seen? But not like this. Those who knew Wang Jio all called him a slaughter demon. They all said they would rather offend Hades than Wang Jio of the amphibian gang, but today, he finally understood what was really a slaughter demon. You are gang leader Wang? You said you wanted to kill all my family, so I came here first. Yemo kicked Wang Jio off his seat and then kicked the woman who had fainted out. Then he sat down. Big brother, this is a misunderstanding. From today on, I'm your subordinate. If you tell me to go east, I won't go west. Wang Jio suddenly felt cold, not minding that there were many bloody bodies next to him. Arg! At this moment, that woman had awoken, and when she saw countless bodies all around her, she immediately screamed. Wang Jio took out a dagger and stabbed into this woman's throat and immediately said, It's this bitch that tricked me to attack Big Brother. I killed her. Big Brother. As he spoke, Wang Jio's teeth couldn't help shaking. He had never thought he would be killed one day when he was killing. He could be indifferent about the life and death of others, but he took his own life to be very crucial. I heard you say that you were going to nail me like that man? Yemo pointed at the nailed man and said plainly. Misunderstanding, Big Brother. This is all a misunderstanding. Wang Jio could no longer hold the fear in his heart. He suddenly understood Yemo's meaning. Yemo sneered and walked to the nailed man. He raised his hand and a few metal nails fell on his hands. He casually dumped the unconscious man aside and kicked Wang Jio. Wang Jio happened to smash into the wooden block and Yemo's 4 nails shot perfectly into Wang Jio's 4 ligaments. Ah! Wang Jio, who killed so many, actually fell unconscious. The wooden block he designed had countless people nailed on it, but today, it was himself. Looking at Wang Jio, who had fainted, Yemo threw out another wind blade and his head was chopped off by half. It sunk by the wooden block. Yemo looked at the man he saved and fed him a few pills while using qi to treat him a little before leaving him there. If he was just looking for Wang Jio's trouble, then he could leave now, but he had a company at Flowing Snake, so he needed to completely eradicate the amphibian gang from its roots. Yemo scanned out his spirit sense. There were amphibian gangsters around being boisterous and lustful. When his spirit sense scanned to an underground room tens of meters out, he was completely infuriated. That underground room was like a slaughterhouse. Multiple dead bodies were simply wrapped together. At this moment, that man saved by Yemo had woken up and he didn't even look at Yemo before saying, The amphibian gang is human trafficking and selling organs. But he just said that, and he fainted again. It was too easy on Wang Jio to die like that. Yemo didn't continue searching. He walked out of the meeting room and started a carnage. This was the first time in his life that he killed people so cruelly. About 200 amphibian gangsters, not one escaped. They were all killed by Yemo. After this, Yemo finally felt relieved. He took that unconscious man and left the room. Then, he threw out tens of fireballs and the originally grandiloquent manner of the amphibian gang was burned to nothing. Fire rose high in the air that could be seen even tens of kilometers away. An hour later, this man had awoken. Although he suffered heavy injuries before, this was nothing in Yemo's hands. He left there before the man woke up. Due to the high rising fire, soon, large amounts of police cars arrived. They saw a region of ruins and that man who barely got up. Captain Wang, why are you here? 2 policemen ran over. Obviously, they knew this man and he was actually a cop. The amphibian gang is full of sin, and when I was getting evidence I was found by Wang Jio's men. I almost lost my life, but someone seemed to have saved me. As for who, I didn't see clearly. Report this immediately and immediately hunt the amphibian gangsters. The man saw his team here and finally felt relieved. The Sharp Sea Corner amphibian gang was scooped in one go by the police, and because the fugitives had nowhere to go, they burnt their HQ. Of course, this was the official word. The amphibian gang reigned the borderlands and no one dared to manage them. And they came from Nanqing, so they did things in Nanqing style. Their HQ was built like Nanqing HQ, by the sea, which was good for attack or defense. So, it was very hard to annihilate the amphibian gang. But finally, they met someone tough and was slaughtered clean in one night. Almost 200 gang members, but no one was left. No one dared to talk about the person who annihilated the amphibian gang. This was the story amongst the citizens. No matter what, the destruction of the amphibian gang was the most explosive thing other than the annihilation of the Xianjiangqiao family. What was different was that the annihilation of the amphibian gang was something that everyone felt elated about. Emo stood by watching the police taking all the ones he missed out. With the help of the man, they went into the HQ of the amphibian gang to find evidence. He couldn't help but to sigh. He didn't expect the man he saved to be cop. Emo stood by watching the police taking all the ones he missed out. With the help of the man, they went into the HQ of the amphibian gang to find evidence. He couldn't help but to sigh. He didn't expect the man he saved to be cop. He approved greatly of this policeman's courage, daring to go into the amphibian gang himself to search for evidence. This wasn't something an ordinary policeman dared to go. It seemed other than the corrupt ones, there were also hot-blooded men in the police force. However, his power was too weak, not even yellow level yet. Emo didn't have a good impression of most cops, but this was an exception. He remembered the first time he met a policeman. He was schemed by that Huang Shu and taken into custody. It was Su Jinwen who got him out in the end. Su Jinwen. When Emo thought of Su Jinwen, he felt warm at heart. Su Jinwen was one of the few friends he had. Other than Shishio, his only friend at Ninghai was Su Jinwen. He wondered how she was doing now. However, they were just friends. He went to Ninghai a few times, but he didn't have the intention to go see her. Su Jinwen was quite troubled right now. She really didn't feel anything towards Xia Weijing, but she couldn't completely reject him. After all, they grew up together, and her mother was quite happy with Weijing. Sometimes, Su Jinwen even thought she might as well go along with it, but thinking that she would be living with him for the rest of her life, she no longer had the courage to accept it. She thought about Ning Qingxue, and she really wanted to ask her how her relationship with Emo was going. Thinking about that after coming to her birthday, Emo never came to see her again, and Su Jinwen couldn't help to feel disappointed. But what she didn't expect was that when she came to Ning Qingxue's palsy, she found that Ning Qingxue had left Ninghai. She really didn't understand this. She knew that the reason Ning Qingxue stayed at Ninghai was due to Emo's Su Jinwen didn't really believe that Ning Qingxue lost a year of memory. Su Jinwen took out the 2 bracelets Emo gave her. One was given through Ning Qingxue and another was given to her by Emo on her birthday. The one given to her by Emo only had 2 beads left, but she had the subconscious feeling that the 2-beaded coarse bracelet was more precious than the exquisite one Ning Qingxue gave her later, despite both of them came from Emo. She suddenly admired Ning Qingxue. She did things however she liked. When Ning Qingxue asked her about how to use the charms, she knew that Ning Qingxue was going to do something dangerous. Later, Ning Qingxue came back with Emo's bracelet. She knew that it must be related to Emo. She could still remember the happiness of Ning Qingxue's face, and she was so pretty when she wore the necklace, really pretty. Her love for Emo was almost written on her face. Why did she change so much in a mere few months? She left Ninghai without a word to State. Could she really just put love aside like that? Su Jinwen felt the 2-beaded bracelet, and suddenly remembered when Emo danced with her. I seem to have a different feeling to him? Su Jinwen murmured, but soon shook her head. No, it's because he saved my mom's life. Thinking about this, Su Jinwen frowned. That wasn't right either. When she brought him out of the police station and made him dance with her, she didn't know Emo was the charm master back then. She even only let Emo sit in her car, and her cousin got angry over it. What was that? She wondered how Emo was doing. Thinking about this, Su Jinwen suddenly had this irresistible urge and called Li Mume. Mume, I'm Jingwon. I'm good. Did Qingxue go back to your state? Why? Su Jingwen felt this strange feeling as she listened to Li Mume. Mume, you said Yemo went to find Qingxue? What happened? Su Jingwen's voice became desperate and had the tone of worry. Perhaps in her heart, Yemo was not only her mother's savior but also her friend. I heard that he jumped off the building and spat out blood. There was no news of him afterwards. Li Mume sighed and had this strange tone. Sometimes she'd rather Qingxue to not have lost her memories. That way, she had more human emotions. But now, Ning Qingxue had turned back to the indifferent beauty at Beijing. What? Jumped off the building? Su Jingwen almost dropped the phone on the ground. Li Mume quickly explained. No, Yemo's quite strong. Yemo just jumped out of the window, but he probably climbed down the pipes, so he's fine. By the way, Jingwen, why are you asking about Yemo? Su Jingwen finally felt relieved in hearing Li Mume's question. She explained with a stutter. Oh, I just thought he really jumped off the building. It's fine, just say hello to Qingxue for me. Li Mume hung up the phone dubiously. As for saying hello to Qingxue for Jingwen, never mind. Qingxue and Jingwen only knew each other well in Qingxue's lost memories. Thinking about this, Li Mume suddenly shook her hand and almost dropped her phone to the ground. She suddenly remembered that Ning Qingxue didn't lose 1 year of memory but just everything that happened between her and Yemo. Why was it like this? This was too much of a coincidence. Su Jingwen put the phone down. She suddenly felt Ning Qingxue was too mean. How could she let Yemo jump off? No matter what, she shouldn't anger Yemo to the point of spitting blood. She didn't know how Yemo was doing now and began to worry for him. If she could find Yemo now, perhaps she would go to Yemo and comfort her. It's said that after losing love, both the body and heart would be very fatigued. She didn't know if Yemo would be like that. Would he do something stupid? Su Jingwen began to worry more, but she knew she wouldn't be able to find Yemo. No, she would set aside the matter with Xiao Weijing and ask about Yemo. He's not only her friend but also her mother's savior. Even her mother wouldn't say anything about it. Yemo stood by the beach at the Sharp Sea corner. This should be a very popular tourist spot, but after the amphibian gang came here, it became a ghost town. Those young masters who liked racing also played here because it was spacious and empty. There were still a few ships parked by a small dock. It probably belonged to the amphibian gang and a few jet skis. Yemo looked at the direction of the tide and searched for oil nearby. Those big tanks of oil couldn't fit in his ring, but he didn't want to put such things in his ring anyway. Thus, he could only pull a small boat behind the jet ski. He knew it wasn't just one-day thing to find the blood coral. After all the preparation was ready, Yemo then took off with the jet ski and started to search in the direction of the tide. He believed that if there was blood coral, there wouldn't just be one. Yemo decided to spend a month time to search for the blood coral. Although he had a blue flower blue leaf grass, it took too long to grow, and he gave it to Tang Bei Wei. If he could find another blood coral, it wouldn't take him long to break through Qi gathering third stage. Yemo knew that the blood coral wouldn't be growing along the coast, so the first day, he drove the jet ski deep into the sea. Although his spirit sense could scan out 150 meters on land, but in the sea, it could only reach 50 meters. But this 50 meters was enough for Yemo. The region of sea with blood coral would have slightly higher spirit density. Although Yemo knew that this wasn't a completely accurate judging factor for blood coral, he had no better way to find it. After one day, Yemo didn't find anything at all, but this jet ski burned oil really fast. His 2 cartridges of oil wouldn't be enough for long. On the 6th day, Yemo finished 1 cartridge of oil and still didn't find any signs of the blood coral. Yemo was thinking if he was looking at the wrong place when he saw a small deserted island. It was probably more accurate to call this island a big coral area. There was only 20 acres on it. Yemo looked at this island and felt a familiar sense. He immediately remembered where he saw this. It was the sea map from the jade box given to him by Gui Taiming. Thinking about this, Yemo didn't hesitate and took out the sea map. Indeed, the island was exactly the same as the one on the map. However, the island was only one marker on the map. Other than the island, there was also a silver marking line which extended far into the sea. Emo followed the mark and looked. According to the ratio, he might not be able to reach there even in a few months' time with his current speed. However, the island was only one marker on the map. Other than the island, there was also a silver marking line which extended far into the sea. Emo followed the mark and looked. According to the ratio, he might not be able to reach there even in a few months' time with his current speed. Because the next marker was no longer in the bay but outside ocean. There were still markers outside the bay and it was in the Indian Ocean. That wasn't even the final point. The final point was in the Antarctic Ocean. What Emo didn't understand was, since it was a sea map, why not just mark the final point at the Antarctic Ocean? Why marked it to there point by point? If he didn't see this island by chance, he might really not be able to find it. According to this sea map, starting from this island, he will eventually find the final destination, but this map gave Emo great confusion. No matter what the person who left the map behind wanted to do, he wouldn't be able to reach there with this jet ski. He came for blood coral and the island was a complete coincidence. Emo was thinking, would this island be connected to the blood coral he was trying to find, or was this map related to the blood coral? He knew that it was useless to keep searching, so Emo didn't continue. Even if he was to, he needed to wait until his economic power was sufficient so he can buy a big ship to find it. Or, a simpler way was to cultivate Chi gathering level 4 and flying on his flying sword. Since he had come here, no matter what, Emo was going to have a look. Emo parked his jet ski at the island and dived underwater. Emo went down and the pressure increased, but even when Emo was in stage 2, this pressure wouldn't worry him, much less that he was in stage 3 now. The more Emo went now, the more he felt the island was shaped like an 8. His spirit sense could completely scan the bottom of the water. Emo circled the island but didn't find anything suspicious, nor did he find any signs of blood coral. It seemed that this was just a normal island. A map with just an ordinary island. Emo really didn't understand. He didn't want to give up and kept circulating the island, but there was nothing special indeed. Emo was very disappointed and he could only come back to the surface of the sea. Emo was surprised that the island and even his jet ski had just disappeared from the surface of the sea. Even Emo, who was a cultivator, had goosebumps on his head. Perhaps this was normal in the cultivation realm but not on Earth. He just dived into the water from here. How did the island just suddenly disappear? Emo thought and immediately dived into the water again. He searched where he searched before, and what made him relieved was that the island was found by him again. This time, he went up along the border of the sea. When he was about tens of meters to the surface of the sea, he found he was standing on the top of the island. It was impossible for the sea level to increase, so that meant the island was sinking. After the island sunk, his jet ski drifted away as well. This island could sink itself. What did he just encounter? According to this speed, the next time he came to search for this island, it would have disappeared already. Emo kept scanning his spirit sense around the island, and when he got to the waist, he finally found something wrong. The waist of the island was very smooth. Usually it should be filled with coral. It can't be this smooth. This was very suspicious. Emo felt the island was still sinking and he immediately came to the smooth surface and pressed. There was no reaction. Did he see wrong? This place definitely was different. Usually, he would be able to scan his spirit sense in a few meters, but at this place, he couldn't scan in at all. It seemed that this unknown type of rock could segregate even spirit sense. Emo took a curved sword from his ring and sliced on the smooth surface. Soon, he dug the stone out with the sword. Finally, Emo saw what was inside. It was a small box. It was artificial indeed. This smooth rock wasn't some precious thing. If this stone was sealed well, it could not only segregate spirit sense but also water and fire. However, these stones were too little in amount. If there was enough, Perhaps Emo would make a house out of this stone. Other than a jade box, there was nothing else in the stone box. Emo took out the jade box. It was the exact same type as the one Wataimon gave him. It was by the same person indeed. It seemed he found the right spot. Emo scanned his spirit sense inside the jade box. There was an incomplete yin-yang fish 8 trigram picture. To be exact, it was half or each. It was half a yin-yang fish and half of an 8 trigram. It seemed quite eerie. Emo looked for a while and still didn't get what it was. He could only take it away. At this moment, the island had sunk 100 meters down, and Emo came back to the surface of the sea. He didn't understand why the island was sinking, but if he was foundation establishment or higher, perhaps he would go down and see. But now, with his current state, that would be suicide. Luckily, he didn't gain nothing this time. Although he didn't find the blood coral, he found the place on the map and found a shard of yin-yang fish. But when Emo stood on the sea again, he was troubled. He didn't know where his jet ski went and couldn't scan it with his spirit sense. He couldn't fly on swords now, and it was too hard to swim back. Although he could find a wooden board and step on that to go back, but that would use too much spirit chi. Perhaps before he even got back on land, he would be exhausted. Now, he didn't have any pills to recover chi. If he wasted everything in the sea, perhaps a white shark could take his life. What made Emo depressed was that as soon as he thought about sharks, a ferocious shark swam towards him. It was very easy to kill this shark, and he only needed to use his flying sword and it would be done. But the flying sword was his baby. He usually didn't even want to use it to kill people, much less a shark. Emo took out a curved sword and with one swing, that ferocious shark was decapitated. But immediately, Emo knew it wasn't good. He really shouldn't have killed it with a sword. The blood was too obvious. As soon as Emo thought about this, tens of sharks had started swarming towards Emo. Emo killed a few more, but the sharks were getting more and more. At this rate, no matter how much spirit chi he had, it would be wasted by the sharks. Emo no longer dared to kill sharks. If it was on the land, he could run, but in the sea, no matter how fast he was, he wouldn't be faster than sharks. Helplessly, Emo found one shark and just jumped on its back. This shark immediately started to swerve heavily and kept diving into deep water and wobbling in the sea water, wanting to shake Emo off, but Emo sat very sturdy. He thought, right, although the shark was ferocious, it couldn't do anything about the prey on its back. It kept going further and further away and gradually left the shark group. Seeing the distant sharks swarm, Emo finally felt relieved. He finally escaped, otherwise, he could only go into the deep sea. Although the shark couldn't chase him to there, he would use up a lot of chi too. After all, that pressure was very strong. Just when Emo was about to let the shark go, he noticed that the shark was very fast. He thought perhaps he could use this shark as a ride. Not only did it not use oil, but it was fast. However, it just wasn't as comfortable sitting on it as the jet ski. Thinking about this, Emo tried to use the shark to turn. It took him a whole 2 hours with constant beating and spirit sense threatening that he could finally drive the shark as he wished. This was just a normal shark. If only it was a spirit beast. Emo thought of the bear cockroach he gave Chi Wan Qing. Although that wasn't a spirit animal, but it could form the ownership pact. This shark couldn't because its intellect was far from that bear cockroach. Emo stood on the shark back for about an hour or two and felt something wasn't right. Although this shark could be used to travel and wasn't slow, it couldn't be used for a long time. Once the time got slightly longer, the shark would get tired. Although it looked really cool standing on the back of the shark, it was quite troublesome that it needed rest. Helplessly, Emo could only get some fishes to feed the shark and let it rest once every 2 hours. Despite this, a day later, the shark was getting slower and slower. Emo did think about getting another one, but thinking about how he still needed to train it for half a day, Emo lost interest. Oh my God, did I see right? I actually saw someone standing on the back of a shark riding on the sea. Oh God, China really is a magical country. A blonde girl with blue eyes held a telescope and exclaimed, Oh my God, did I see right? I actually saw someone standing on the back of a shark riding on the sea. Oh God, China really is a magical country. A blonde girl with blue eyes held a telescope and exclaimed. The tall white man behind her laughed. Lena, you like China so much. You also said that your Chinese friend knew a magical doctor and now, you see someone riding on the back of a shark. The man spread his hands out and joked, Okay, when you see that person starting flying, then call me. Uncle Jack, I really saw a man standing on the back of a shark and he's coming over towards us. The girl called Lena didn't put the telescope down but continued to exclaim as she watched. Is it real? Today isn't April Fool's. This white man took a telescope and looked dubiously. As soon as Jack looked, he almost dropped his telescope on the ground. He really saw a person standing on the back of a shark riding in the sea. Oh God, it's actually real. China is too magical. Mr. M.O., your country is too magical. It was the right decision to come this time, even if we can't cooperate, but it's worth this magical scene. Jack, like Lena, didn't want to put the telescope down again. The man called Mr. M.O. walked over curiously. Lena, what are you guys talking about? I don't understand. The man suddenly stopped because even without the telescope, he saw a person on the back of a shark approaching rapidly from a few hundred meters away. Yemo saw this cruise ship from a long way away and thinking that he couldn't reach the land with the sharks, so he wanted to hop on this ship. It's real. The Yemo man saw the fast approaching shark. Yemo was near the cruise ship in no time, and with a flying jump, he went from the back of the shark aboard the ship. Oh my God, he flew up here. Jack could no longer hold the telescope in his hands. Two Marines had walked over quickly with their weapons. They didn't see how Yemo got on the ship, but they saw a stranger and immediately reported it to the captain. Lena came up in front of Yemo with astonishment and said a bunch of words. Her face was red with excitement, but Yemo didn't understand a single word. Jack saw Yemo frown and quickly dragged Lena aside. Yemo looked at the two black Marines but said to the Yemo guy, My ship sunk in the sea. I'll borrow your ship to get to land. The Yemo man immediately said with joy, Okay, that's fine. I'll tell the captain now. He thought Yemo was a pirate, but even a pirate wouldn't attack here. However, Yemo's words made him feel relieved completely and turned around to talk to the two Marines. The two Marines heard the man's words and looked at Yemo once and said no more. They rushed inside the ship. Yemo went to the corner of the ship and sat down. He closed his eyes and cultivated. Soon, he opened his eyes and asked that Mo man, What else is it? Hello, sorry to interrupt you, I'm Mo Hai, the manager for the Hong Kong Mo Corporation. The captain wanted to see your identity documents, Mo Hai said hesitantly. He wanted to get to know Yemo, so he didn't really hide his origin. Yemo nodded. There were a lot of foreigners here and he didn't want to talk much. He took out his ID and gave it to Mo Hai and said, Sorry to trouble you. Where will the ship get to land? At the Hong Kong cruise ship docks. Are you going to Hong Kong as well? Mo Hai was very polite with Yemo. He saw Yemo's powers with his own eyes. Lena ran over, however, and dragged Mo Hai's sleeves. Uncle Mo, do you know him? Can you introduce him to me? I want to learn his magic. Mo Hai smiled helplessly. Lena, I don't know him. Great masters like him don't usually take disciples. Yemo looked at Mo Hai in surprise and thought that there were 3 people who saw him on the back of the shark. Other than this Mo Hai, there were the other 2 foreigners. But those foreigners were extremely shocked, while Mo Hai, although surprised, but was not as flabbergasted as those 2 foreigners. Did he usually see people like him? Thinking about this, Yemo asked, Mo brother, have you seen people like me before? Mo Hai quickly shook his head and replied, No, I've just heard my uncle say that our country has a lot of hidden families and they all have special powers. So I know there are masters like you out there. Mo Hai's tone was very polite, fearing to make Yemo unhappy. So that was how it was. Emo nodded. It seemed this Mo Hai's uncle was simple to be able to hear about the hidden families. Mo Hai? Hong Kong as well, was he related to Mo Kong? If that was so, then it would be such a coincidence. Mo looked at Mo Hai and smiled. Mo brother, I have a friend called Mo Kong. He lives at Hong Kong Chin Quan Strait, Half Mountain Mansion. Do you know him? Mo Kong is my uncle. Mo Hai looked at Mo with joy. He didn't expect this person to know his uncle. Even he wasn't able to see his uncle whenever he liked. So Mo Kong is your uncle? Mo nodded. He didn't talk, but he already understood why Mo Hai wasn't that shocked seeing him ride sharks in the sea. He probably heard about the hidden things from Mo Kong and thought he was from the hidden sections. Plus, even Han Zixin thought he was from the hidden sections. At this moment, a fat white man walked over with two Marines behind him. Mo Kong quickly walked up and talked with the white man for a while, and showed Mo's identity to the white man. Probably because Mo King's status was quite high, the white man spoke a few sentences and brought the two Marines in and didn't walk over towards Mo. Mo Kong ran over quickly and gave Mo's identity back to Mo and said, So you are Dr. Yi. I've heard my uncle talk about you. You saved my uncle's life. It's really an honor to see you today. Mr. Yi, please have a sit in my room. Mo thought it was too obvious to sit at the head of the ship, so it would be better to go sit at Mo Hai's place. Seeing Mo and Mo Hai walk in, Lena quickly dragged Jack, wanting to follow. Mo Hai looked helplessly at Jack, but Jack just shrugged his shoulders. Mo Hai said to Mo apologetically, Lena's really innocent, but she doesn't understand Chinese. Jack is going to Hong Kong to discuss business with us. He's the manager from the Asian sector of the England Reuben Medicines. He's coming to Hong Kong under our invitation. Medicine company. Mo thought about his company. Perhaps in the future, he can do business with this Brit. However, Mo wasn't worried that he wouldn't be able to sell his products. In the future, only people will beg him, he won't beg others. The few people entered Mo Hai's room. Mo Hai quickly helped each people a cup of water. In his heart, although Jack was a money maker, Mo's identity was more important. Of course, Mo Hai knew how important Mo was in the heart of his uncle Mo Kong. Once he got Mo's approval, Mo only needed to say something and he would be worth a lot more in his uncle's heart. My uncle has always been talking about you. Grand Yi, do you have time to go have a seat at my uncle's mansion? Mo Hai was getting more and more polite with Mo. Mo waved his hand and said, No need. I still have my things, by the way, just call me Mo. I'm not grand. Mo Hai laughed awkwardly, but soon he found a topic. Grand Yi, you are in the same generation as my uncle, of course you're grand to me. However, have you heard about the two major things in mainland? Although we came from Australia, we've heard about these two things. Oh, what is it? Mo asked subconsciously. The biggest thing is that the amphibian gang was annihilated in one night. Even the HQ was burnt. Another thing is that the Xianjiang Qiao family was also exterminated in one night. It was said it was due to a blood quarrel. Mo Hai wanted to get closer to Mo, so he found some big topics to increase the intimacy. What? Qiao family was really exterminated? Mo suddenly stood up. He couldn't calm down. It wasn't because that the Qiao family was exterminated. Although he knew Qiao Gang, but he already warned Qiao Gang. What he cared about was the blood quarrel. Mo knew how hard it was to find the blood coral after going into the sea. The blood coral was originally in the Qiao family and he couldn't rob it, but now that it was robbed by someone else, what he was waiting for? In Mo's eyes, the blood coral was taken by the Cha family 99%. The Cha family was with the Earth Fiend and that was his enemy. If he didn't go rob it from the Cha family, he was an idiot. When was this? Mo immediately asked. He didn't care if Mo Hai suspected him. Once he fought with Earth Fiend, this would be unveiled eventually. Getting the blood coral and getting stronger was the right path. Mo's heart was on fire knowing that he could rob the blood coral. He wished he could go there immediately and rob it, and then break through and go look for trouble with the Earth Fiend openly, telling them that they shouldn't have messed with him. Emo. I heard it's been a week, and it's being spreading everywhere in mainland. Haven't you heard about it, Qianbei? Mo Hai asked in surprise. I heard it's been a week, and it's being spreading everywhere in mainland. Haven't you heard about it, Qianbei? Mo Hai asked in surprise. Mo knew this was the time he went out searching for the blood coral. Now that Mo Hai said this, his heart was like burning. It had been a week. If these idiots just ate the blood coral or used it to make pills, then all would be gone. Thinking about this, Mo couldn't help to blame his soft-heartedness. If he wasn't soft-hearted, since he knew that the Cha family would attack the Qiao family, he could stay in Xinjiang, and after the Cha family annihilated the Qiao family, he could be the fisherman standing at the back. But he knew that if he stayed in Xinjiang, he would stop them when the Cha family attacked. But still, it went against his heart. Other than Qiao Gang, Mo looked down on all the people in the Qiao family. It went against his heart to save these people. Subconsciously, he didn't want the Qiao family to be annihilated. After all, hoping a family to be annihilated for a herb was too bloody. But since this became true, he wouldn't hold back. What Mo didn't expect was that it just happened right after he went into the sea. He was caught unprepared. He didn't know was it too late to do anything about it. Mo brother, which city is closest to us right now? Mo asked desperately. Mo Hai quickly replied. The closest one should be South Sea Sanya City. If we go there, it will take less than a day longer for Hong Kong. Less than a day? Mo immediately got Mo Hai to point him a direction on the deck. If it really was that little distance, then he didn't need to stay on the ship. He only needed to ride a wooden board for half a day. Jack and Lena followed Mo dumbly. Lena really wanted to ask Mo to learn magic, but she didn't understand Chinese. This made her determined to study Chinese when she went back. Mo saw that there was not much people on the deck and took out a wooden block from his ring and said to Mo Hai, I have a company that's also pharmaceutical related. You can talk to your uncle about it. If possible, we can cooperate, but my company just started. If you want to collaborate, you can go to Flowing Snake and talk about it with Zhang Jian. I'm still busy, so I won't say much. Goodbye. Then Mo jumped into the sea standing on the wooden board and soon disappeared, leaving behind 3 people with their mouth open wide in shock. God! Jack couldn't say anything else. Mo followed the direction Mo Hai pointed, and it was only 2 hours and the sky just got dark and he could see lights. This was San Yen. Mo knew about Jiang Nan Cha family. When Wu Guang told him, he asked about it. The city Cha family wasn't big. It was near Luotsang. It was originally a small city, but due to population growth, it changed into a medium city. The city was called Liangpu City. If he wanted to go there, he would need to fly to Luotsang first, and then go from there. After so much time had passed, even Mo wasn't sure if the blood coral was still at the Cha family. If it really the Cha family who slaughtered the Qiao family, then the blood coral might still be there. If it wasn't the Cha family, or if the Cha family worked with other hidden sects, then it might not be there anymore. The earliest flight from Sanya to Luotsang was at 7 a.m. Although he arrived in Sanya at night, he still needed to wait there overnight before going to Luotsang. Mo had no choice but to wait. Getting here from the sea, although he used his qi to dry his clothes and washed it with water, it was still uncomfortable after staying in the sea for so long. He found a hotel, showered and changed a clean set of clothes before going out to get food. He'd only been eating grain these past few days. For the first time, he walked so casually on the street, finding a place to eat. If only Luoying was by his side. Mo thought of her and sighed. He knew this was dreaming. Mo walked to a big fast food block and ordered something casually and got a few bottles of beer. He felt the food was not bad here. Just when Mo was about to finish, a crisp girl voice interrupted him. You are Mo? Huh, it really is you. How are you here? The girl saw Mo look up and yelled in excitement. As soon as this girl yelled, Emo recognized her. Although he didn't know what she was called, but she was his schoolmate. He still had some impression. I'm Wang Yanming. Don't you know me? We've been in the same class for many years. To be honest, you changed so much. The girl spoke and her tone was elated and excited. Emo was speechless. He never even talked much to this Wang Yanming. He didn't know why she was so excited, but since she said that, he could only smile and say, "Since you came, come and eat with me my treat." Okay, then I won't be too polite. Then Wang Yanming pulled the man and woman beside her down as well and said to Emo, "This is Lu Jia, my colleague, and this is my boyfriend Yu Tao. Yanming, this is your uni friend? He's quite handsome." Lu Jia was skinny. Although she wasn't plump, her face was very exquisite and she studied Emo curiously. Emo felt his chin awkwardly. Due to cultivation, he had this ethereal, out-of-this-world temperament. In normal people's eyes, that meant he was handsome. In fact, in the cultivation realm, as long as you weren't too ugly, every guy was handsome and every girl was beautiful. "Hello, I'm Yu Tao, Yanming's boyfriend. Nice to meet you." Yu Tao was a little introverted and average-looking, but he cared about Wang Yanming a lot. Emo nodded and shook hands with Yu Tao and ordered a few more dishes. "Emo, you really changed a lot. Yan was really blind." So pretentious. Of course Wang Yanming knew about Yemo's past and felt unhappy for him now. Yemo smiled. He already forgot about those sort of things and just said, "I've had quite a lot, you guys. Yay, are you working at Sanya?" "Yeah, after I graduated, I came to Sanya with you, Tao. It's quite nice here. By the way, did you know that after you left, Yunbing asked about you? It seemed she was looking for you desperately." Wang Yanming talked non-stop. Although Emo didn't feel as elated as Wang Yanming, he knew how she was feeling. Emo thought about Shishio. Ever since leaving Ninghai University, he had never seen him again. This time, he could ask Wang Yanming about him. Lu Jia poured herself a cup of beer and was about to drink with Emo, but a small bug flew into her cup. Lu Jia exclaimed and quickly dropped the cup on the side. "Dumb bitch, you're asking to die." A ferocious voice sounded and a sturdy-looking bald youth wiped the beer from his clothes and slapped towards Lu Jia. Lu Jia was frightened and quickly retreated. This slap didn't hit her, but the youth obviously wasn't planning to let her go like that. "Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. I'll pay you money." Lu Jia saw the tattoo on the youth's arm and was so scared she couldn't say complete sentences. Yu Tao wanted to stand up but was pushed back by the two hoodlums beside the youth and was kicked. Wang Yanming held him but was full of worry. Emo sighed. He couldn't even eat a proper meal. He walked over and grabbed the hand the youth was about to slap Lu Jia with. "Since she already apologized and your clothes only just got a little wet, there's no need to be like this. Who the fuck do you think you are? I'll let you know today." This ferocious youth saw that Emo dared to grab his wrist and was more furious. "Your mouth stinks." Emo raised his hand and slapped. Before this youth finished his words, 3 of his teeth was knocked out. He spun on the ground and smashed into the 2 youths behind him. The youth grabbed his mouth and his face started to swell. He muttered unclearly at Emo and said in a more ferocious tone, "You dare to hit me? You don't want to fucking live." Emo shook his head. He'd seen dumb ones but had never seen someone this dumb. He held back on that slap, but this guy was still acting up. Emo walked up and raised his leg and was about to give him another leg. "Friend, you're quite cruel. Why don't I, Shui Lu, got informed when someone like you came to Lu Wang Jiao? If you got balls, kick him." A coarse voice sounded. Hearing this voice, that youth immediately said in joy, "Lu brother, help me get revenge." But before they both finished, Emo already kicked. And this youth spat out more teeth and could no longer talk. "Okay, you got balls. If I let you walk out of Lu Wang Jiao, there's no need for me to stay here anymore." That coarse-voiced man growled. "Okay, then don't stay here anymore." Yemo really didn't have the mood to play with these hoodlums, but so much things happened just from a meal. He walked up and gave another few slaps. Okay, then don't stay here anymore. Yemo really didn't have the mood to play with these hoodlums, but so much things happened just from a meal. He walked up and gave another few slaps. The roaring man didn't even get time to react and was slapped down on the ground again, spitting out teeth just like that youth. Okay, you're the first one to be so cocky coming to Lu Wangjiao. If you have balls, wait for my boss. Then, Shuai Lu picked up a phone and called. You don't need to call. I will go see your big boss. To be honest, you have too many big bosses. Yemo shook his head. If it wasn't for Wan Yanming, he would go as soon as he beat them up, but now, if he did, Wan Yanming and her friends would be done. So, he had to do things cleanly. The coarse-voiced man heard Yemo's words and looked at him in surprise. After a moment, he laughed cruelly and said, Okay, you have balls indeed. Then, he struggled to get up and said to the two clonies behind him, Bring bald guy back. Due to the fight, all the people eating here had left. Yemo turned back and said to Wan Yanming and them, Go back first. I will deal with things here. Although Lu Jia was shocked, she immediately said, Yemo, you can't go with them. These people will kill. Let's go quickly. No need. I know what I'm doing. You guys go. Oh, by the way, Wan Yanming, do you have news about Shuxiu? Yemo remembered what he was going to ask. Wan Yanming dazed for a moment. She really couldn't understand how Yemo had the feeling to ask about Shuxiu now, but she still replied. Something seemed to have happened in Shuxiu's family. He only did a makeup exam after graduation. If you want to find him, you can go to the on-year graduation gathering. He quite possibly will go. Something happened in his house? Yemo was beginning to worry for Shuxiu. It seemed he needed to go to this graduation reunion. Hurry up and drive. Keep staring and I will kick again. Yemo's mood wasn't well after knowing about Shuxiu. Shuai Lu almost choked. Hearing Yemo's tone, it was as though Yemo was the hoodlum and he was the one being harassed. He thought about this depressingly, and received another kick on his back. At the same time, Yemo told him to drive. This Yemo guy was so cocky. Just wait till he gets to the HQ. If he won't make Yemo lose half his life, he wouldn't budge. Yemo, are you really going to go with Se people? Wan Yanming asked worriedly. She wasn't dumb. She knew what Yemo meant. She was afraid that after he left, they would be taken upon by vengeance. Wan Yanming looked at Yemo again and just realized that despite being classmates with him for 4 years, she never seemed to really understand him. Lu Jia walked over. Yanming, go back with Yu Tao first. I started this, I will go with Yemo. No, if we're going, we go together. Wan Yanming immediately rebuked Lu Jia's suggestion. Yemo saw these people were quite loyal friends and said, Okay, then let's go together. We're just going for a cup of tea anyway. Are you coming or not? Shuai Lu wasn't happy about being kicked several times. He made up his mind, even if these people didn't want to go, he would manage to let them go. Yemo kicked on Shuai Lu's back again until he buried his face in the ground. Did I allow you to talk? Hurry up and drive. Yemo said coldly. The HQ Shuai Lu said was only a simple meeting place. It seemed this power faction was still growing. Yemo and them just walked in and a few people already sealed their exit and closed all the doors. Lu Jia and them had never seen such a scene and immediately tensed up following Yemo closely. Yemo's previous performance meant that he was a great fighter. These few young people have balls. Although our Western Sand just got here, we're not something that small fries can bully. Yemo just walked into the main hall and a plain voice sounded. Big brother, it's this man. He's very cocky and beat out half of Bald's teeth. He even said he would come for you here. Shuai Lu quickly exaggerated. Western Sand? Yemo knew there was a Northern Sand. He also knew Western Sand, but it was much smaller than Northern Sand. He even met the big boss of Western Sand, Jiao Bianyi. He didn't know if this Western Sand came from Hong Kong. If it did, Jiao Bian's power was expanding quite rapidly. Yemo walked in and saw the middle-aged man sitting in the center and immediately knew this was Jiao Bian's Western Sand. Because when he rushed into the big boss meeting at Hong Kong, this man was right behind Jiao Bian. However, the one in Western Sand who gave Yemo the deepest impression was Ping Yang. This guy was not bad, but he followed Jiao Bian. No matter if my balls are big or not, you have no right to talk to me. Even Jiao Bian doesn't dare to sit and talk to me like this. It seems your balls are bigger than mine, Yemo said coldly. The middle-aged man heard Yemo talk about Jiao Bian and immediately stood up anxiously. He was only a fighter for Jiao Bian. Recently, due to Nanqing and Meadow River both declining, their Western Sand had the chance to come to mainland to expand their interests. However, he didn't expect this young man to know Jiao Bian. He had to be careful. You are Yi Qianbei. Hi, Wan Bei is Shuai Shi. I've been followed Jiao boss. This middle-aged man finally recognized Yemo. When Yemo killed as he smiled and caught a bullet with his bare hands, even Meadow River had to carefully stay with him. His big boss took it as an honor to have spoken with Yemo. How could he not know about Yemo? He never even wanted to mess with Yemo. His teeth were already shivering. Shuai Shi knew that it was only a piece of cake if Yemo wanted to kill him. He no longer dared to sit on top and quickly ran over, bowing down to Yemo. But he soon understood who the source of the trouble was. Shuai Shi walked in front of Shuai Lu and gave him a few slaps while kicking Shuai Lu out many meters. Shuai Lu sat on the ground looking at his boss in shock. He had been quite heavily applauded by his big boss. Why did his boss hit him without asking him? Was this because of this Yemo? Big boss called him Qianbei. What was this? Wan Yanming and the friends were more shocked. They didn't expect things to be so comedic. They thought they would lose a layer of skin at least, if not die, but immediately, the boss was so respectful to Yemo. Shuai Shi quickly bowed to Yemo and said, Yi Qianbei, please sit. Until Yemo sat at the very top did Shuai Shi breathe smoothly. He also said politely to Wan Yanming and her friends, You are my honorable guests. Please sit. Invited to sit and enjoy tea, other than Yemo, who was still calm, Lu Jia and his friends were confused. But they also knew that this was all because of Yemo. Wan Yanming couldn't understand Yemo even more. How did he make these people so polite? Shuai Shi seated them before roaring to Shuai Lu. Piss off! Break Baldy's leg! You face the wall and repent in kneeling. How dare you attack Yi Qianbei? I think you don't want to live. Shuai Lu was full of wrong feeling, thinking, how would I know he was Yi Qianbei? When he first came in, you also said the young people these days were quite bold, but now you changed so fast. Even though he was thinking that, he didn't dare to say it. Yemo waved his hand and said, Okay, this thing ends here, but I don't want it happens again. Otherwise, I don't mind squashing this department. Yes. Yi Qianbei, don't worry. We came here to do proper business, Shuai Shi quickly said. He felt his back was full of sweat. He didn't think Yemo was bluffing. Even if Yemo said he would squash Western Sand, he would still not dare to doubt it. He heard that even Meadow River and Nanqing were destroyed by Yemo. Although Western Sand was growing rapidly, they were far from being able to match against Nanqing and Meadow River. Yemo wouldn't care if these people were doing proper business or not. It was irrelevant to him. If it wasn't for Wan Yanming and her friends, he wouldn't even come today. Yi Qianbei, I have an important message to report to you. Shuai Shi knew that Yemo's impression of him wasn't too good already. He needed to get on Yemo's good side. Oh, what is it? Yemo knew Shuai Shi's intentions, but he didn't mind. He didn't have the time to care about these people. Since this was done, he was prepared to leave. Shuai Shi put on a smile and walked beside Yemo. Qianbei should know about the blood coral, right? I heard it's very useful for ancient martial artists. Qiao family was exterminated due to it, but not long ago, a small henchman of mine heard about it at a bar. What? Yemo sprung up, but he immediately stopped Shuaixi's words and turned to Wan Yanming and them. You guys can go back first. There's no more trouble here. No one would dare to go for you in the future. Yes, don't worry. I'll get someone to drive you guys back. Shuaishi heard Yemo's words and immediately said politely to Wan Yanming and them, You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.